Yo.
Yep.
What's good?
How are you?
February 13th.
We live?
Let me check the tube.
I'm about to act like Ray J.
Shout out to Ray J. Shout out to
I'm
Ray
gonna do the whole
J.
episode like Ray J.
That's the bro.
No.
Yo, let me tell you this story, yo.
Good brother right there, man.
Shout out to my brother Ray J.
That's my dog right there, man.
Good dude.
That dude is hilarious, man. Probably the funniest guy.
Incredibly entertaining.
The funniest guy on the internet.
He's staying in New York too.
Is
I know
he?
he did Breakfast Club last week, and he's on with Angela tomorrow. So shout out to Angela Yee, her new show, Way Up. That's the fam.
Shout out to Angela Yee.
Shout out to
Congratulations,
Angela Yee,
man. That's big.
Way Up.
Nationally syndicated. Shout out to Angela, man. She's always been.
She's having guest
I'm a
co-hosts.
half fab call up there and apologize.
Yeah,
That's a legendary moment. Legendary moment.
Yeah,
How y'all doing? How's everybody on YouTube doing? All the earners, everybody in Red Panda, Dream Team family, how y'all doing? Glorious Monday. How y'all doing? Fresh off the plane. I know you was at practice earlier.
Oh,
man.
you know how it goes.
You know, we was on a 2-week.
Victorious.
We was on a 2-week run.
We are back.
out west.
We are back.
Made it back to New York. I had to come, and as soon as I got back, I had to take my son to basketball practice, and I just left basketball practice just now, and made it in time for Market Monday. So
That's important.
started at 4:30 in the morning, West Coast time,
Yes.
which is actually
6:30.
6:30
New York time. Not West Coast time. We were
Mountain West time.
Mountain West time.
Started at 4:30 in the morning, and now it's 8 o'clock at night, and
We're still going.
grind don't stop, man.
We still going. We still going. Thank
grind
you for
don't stop.
everybody that prayed on our traveling mercies. Yes, we went from LA to Phoenix. We were all over the tri-state. We were in Glendale. We were in Scottsdale. Shout out to everybody that pulled up on us and gave us words of encouragement. Shout out to everybody that pulled up on our event. That was incredible. Shout out to the Rap Snacks family. Shout out to the legend Ray Lewis, who gave us
Yes.
a dope interview, man. It's somebody that I watched growing up. I'm sure Shai watched growing up. Very insightful, man. Very, very good dude. And we got some things to tell.
Passion every time he talk. And then you gotta dig deep. I'm like, damn. He do not miss a moment.
Yeah, that was one of the things I wanted to know. Like, I could hear the passion in his voice. I just wanted to know, coaching. And he gave a very good answer on why he doesn't coach or why he hasn't coached yet. It's just not part of his journey just yet. But, one day it might be. Gave a very profound answer. So I'm excited to share that content with y'all.
Yeah. All right. So let's get this show on the road. Today is a big day for us, but before we do that, let's just make some rundown announcements. First and foremost, NAACP Awards.
Yes.
We are up.
Yes.
We are up for NAACP Awards. Myself and Troy as social media personalities. I believe best outstanding social media personalities. That is the category that we are up for. It is done by popular vote. So you guys can vote on this. We have until February 24th to make this happen.
Yeah.
If you would be so gracious to vote, I would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, we greatly appreciate it. Now, here's the thing. You can do this once a day from given email. And so if you vote today, that means you can vote tomorrow. And you can vote the day after. You can use the same email. So you can do that once a day. And just keep doing it, man. We would love to see us champion. We would love to see this movement champion as a representation of it. And we can't do it without y'all. I mean, we got here with y'all. Let's keep this thing going.
Yeah, so the link is in the description of this video, and it's also on our website. We have a link on our website for NAACP Award voting on our website, and it's in the description of this video. So, yeah, if you ever got any value out of Earn Your Leisure or anything that we've ever produced, you can show that appreciation.
Yeah, this is one of those times
by voting.
They always ask you, "What can I do? How
can I help?"
This is a telltale sign.
That is how you can help. That is how you can help.
Shout out to my brother 5 on the check-in.
Shout out to him 500 on the check-in. Appreciate you, brother. We was
next to Hove.
We was
with y'all.
Yeah, we was together yesterday eating a lot of lobster. Can you turn Ian up a little bit so I can hear him?
Yeah.
And then tomorrow, dope episode, Earn Your Leisure. Take Key. You want to do the drop?
Take Keith, fuck these niggas up.
Yeah. Legendary producer. If you don't know who he is, he produced Beyonce. That's the one right there. That's the cookout. That's the cookout anthem.
Yeah.
Everybody gets a chance as a producer to make a national anthem and a Negro spiritual. He did both.
That's deep.
He did both. You know what I'm saying? Like,
That's a
he
fact.
really did both, man.
Take Key, fuck these niggas up.
I feel like falling in love. Like, yo.
Shout out to Take Key, but nah,
He's super versatile too.
yeah, he's produced for Beyonce, Drake, 21 Savage.
Yep.
Man, who hasn't he produced for?
Block Boy. I mean, a lot of the sound that came out of Memphis, he had a major part to do with it.
He's a major contributor to the Memphis.
Plus the education side too.
But so yeah. But then what he's doing on the entrepreneur. So we actually met him at A16Z. Shout out to them. We was at their retreat, and he was there, and he's an investor in the venture capital side, and him and his manager, and they were saying like how much they were into tech. And how much they were into the venture capital investing, angel investing. Then we found out that he has a studio that he then we found out about his real estate place. And he's like 26 years old. So he got a bunch of real estate. He got
Is he really?
Yeah. He's super young.
And he has a production company where he actually creates and highlights and mentors new producers. And so he has people under his belt that got top 5 records on their own, which is different. He's so young but so bright, man. So bright.
This new generation, this like crop of 15 to 25-year-olds, they're different.
They're killing, man. Him.
Yeah. Shout out to y'all.
Shout out to him.
Y'all amazing.
Take Keith, our boy Turbo. Turbo is a huge supporter of the show.
Turbo's another one.
He's another one. Metro is killing it out here. All these guys, they're very young, but they got the business side of it.
Yeah, man. Shout out to those guys. So make sure that you check that episode out tomorrow. Earn Your Leisure. Dope episode. We cover a variety of different things. And that's for the young world, you know. A lot of times people complain that we don't have Generation Y. I think that's what it's called. People under 30.
Yeah, maybe.
Not enough people from Generation Y. So that's for the young world, but also anybody can take the advice and take the lessons that he was able to, you know, share. A lot of gems. Good dude.
It was dope.
Good dude.
Like the contrast, like when we sat down with Tim and his longevity of his career, and him being very vulnerable, and very honest about the mistakes he made. To hear Take Keith talk about it, but it's in such a short time, right? He's like, yo, man, I was doing that when I was 18. I made some mistakes. I'm like, yo, bro, you're 25. Like, he's like, I know, but it feels so long ago. Like, you know what I mean? So he's going through some of those things now and has learned. So the upside is incredible for him, man. He's one of them special ones, man, for sure.
Generation Z. I thought it was because I'm Generation Z.
So X. Is that
the Generation X?
Yeah.
That's like people that's like 50 years old.
Okay.
So I'm in Generation Z. I thought, what's the generation?
Are we in the
Younger
same generation?
Let's call them Generation Amazing.
Nah, you're in a different generation technically.
Ian, we in a different generation, bro?
Yeah, technically.
Yeah, technically. Rashad, what you 38?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So y'all 40, so y'all in a little older bracket than me.
A little wiser. More life experience.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, a little more life experience.
Oh man. Yeah. Shout out to all the millennials out there. All right, and then we got a big announcement, but I'm gonna save that. I want to let the beat build for a little bit before we make this announcement. Major key alert. Ian, any announcements that you would like to make? Oh, and also huge shout out to the NFLPA. You guys are amazing. Thank you for having us. Huge shout out to Rap Snacks. Huge shout out to Rick Ross for showing hospitality when we ran into him.
Yes.
Meek Millie. Everybody that Khaled. We'll talk about this. This is becoming a thing where we talk about the things that we just did.
Happened in the week.
We'll talk about Super Bowl later on. Yeah. But just wanted to give a huge shout out to the NFLPA, Tirani, the whole team.
Shout out to the Chiefs.
Well,
we're on record.
We have to talk about it.
You on record?
Of course I was.
We're on record.
Of course I was. I will talk about that later on. No. Ian, any announcements?
Yes. I didn't wish my baby happy birthday last week.
Happy birthday, Xander.
Yes, Xander, I love you. I hope you have a blast. To all your classmates who were there, thank you for being at this party. Might clip this up so we can put this on YouTube so I can get my little PTA at school. My dad's famous. No stock club call tomorrow, but I will be putting in 3 new picks for us on Wednesday. with new prices. These are 3 companies I've never covered before. Happy belated birthday to my brother Murder Beats. Murder on the Beat, so we not nice. And let's have an amazing show. Big announcement.
Yeah.
God is amazing.
So
they said we are all millennials, 81 to 95.
Let's do it.
Welcome to our club, Chad.
So, all right. So let's make this announcement. If you follow Earn Your Leisure, you know that, what we've been able to accomplish. Market Mondays, what we've been able to accomplish. It's been nothing short of phenomenal. And it's really
Real quick, I want to announce this so we don't have any backlash. Everyone that attended MSG, the final round of uploads for all the bonuses will be done by Friday. VAs are on it, so
Friday's the day
to the show.
So
Friday at 7 p.m.
It's one of these things where it's like, how can we change the game again? How can we do things that nobody has ever done in the history of financial literacy and business? So of course, when it comes to the event space, we've murdered the event space. Crazy. So now it's a matter of taking it a step further and doing it bigger. So we put a billboard up a couple years ago, said the world is yours in Times Square, and really mean that. Like, the world is yours is something that is very powerful, and it means a lot. So what we decided to do, Market Mondays World Tour. 5 cities, 3 continents, starting in Los Angeles, California, March 11th, followed by Toronto. Special guest 19 Keys on the Toronto show, high-level conversation mashup, followed by London, followed by Chicago, and we are ending the year in Ghana, on the motherland.
Oh my.
On the motherland. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to do 5 cities, 2 North American tour dates, 1 European tour date. Actually, 3 North American tour dates. Yeah, we got one European tour date, 1 African tour date. Toronto, Canada, you guys have been asking for a long time, so we had to add a special something with Toronto. So 19 Keys will be on the bill in Toronto. But of course, every city that we go to is going to be surprises. It's going to be regional guests. It's going to be musical guests. Every city is going to be a different vibe. Los Angeles, California, a place that we go to so much, but we've never done a show there. So thought that it would just be a great way to kick off the tour. March 11th. Get your tickets now. Link in the description of this video. Link on our website. Link in the bio. Get your tickets now. You can buy your tickets for Los Angeles right now. Don't wait. Don't hesitate. That will sell out. That's in Novo Theater. In Novo Theater. That's right next to LA Live.
It's actually in LA Live.
Yeah, March 11th. So the LA tickets are for sale right now. The other ones, you can join the waiting list. And as soon as the tickets become available, then you'll be the first to be notified to get the tickets. Yeah. So it's going to be one of them ones, man.
Yeah, and
get there early. Cash giveaway every city on me.
Presented by Ally.
Our folks at Ally, I know people were like, "Yo, what happened to the Ally reads?" Well, we said let's do something that's really impactful. Let's change the game. Let's do something that's going to be memorable. Let's go and expand the brands. And so we sat down with the good folks at Ally. Shout out to our UN family as well. And we said, "Yo, this is the idea," and they were like, "We love it." So shout out to our good folks at Ally. They are sponsoring out the tour, man. And it's going to be dope. I can't wait to touch every city. The certified brother, man, traveling out the motherland. That's going to be incredible. Ghana will never be the same. Toronto, for sure. I've been telling you for 12 years.
I can't wait. Kitchener,
that is my favorite city in the entire world. The West Indian Massive, I know, is going to show up. Please, once those tickets go on sale, I wouldn't wait 30 minutes. I'm going to be honest with you. Toronto's been waiting for so long. I wouldn't wait 30 minutes. I wouldn't wait 10 minutes.
Toronto going to be a vibe.
LA.
I'm going to get the most money when Toronto.
People think we live out there at this point.
Shout out to Cali.
And we'll be back very shortly.
Shout out to Cali.
That's going to be special. We got some really, really special things planned for LA. Chicago. I mean, this is going to be one of the ones. And we already know what happened last time we came to London.
Oh, London. You already know.
We gotta start that week at least.
Round three. Round three.
Today,
Go and be special.
and quick announcement: every city, new presentation for me on long-term investing, swing trading, and long-term investing. So, swing trading stocks, day trading, new targets for futures. Every presentation, every city will be different. Cash giveaway. Ashley, I need pyro. I need the Rihanna treatment. I need to float all over. Let's go.
Let's get this going.
I love y'all. Ernest Pandas, let's go. Midwest, we finally come back. Chicago, Power 92, tap in. 107.5, tap in. Let's get to it.
Did we not shout out Rihanna? Shout out to Rihanna.
Shout out to Rihanna.
And congratulations to her and ASAP on
Baby number 2.
Baby number 2, man. Outstanding performance. She sounded amazing in person. It was incredible. Shout out to Rihanna and shout out to the whole Rock Nation team. That was an incredible display.
All right, so we're gonna get into this. We're gonna get into this show, but before one last thing about the World Tour situation. I'm extremely excited about LA. Working on some surprises for LA. I know how I feel about LA, man. LA is that's home. So get your tickets now. Link in the description of this video. And get on a waiting list for all of the other cities. Once again, just to kind of run it down, the cities are LA, followed by Toronto, followed by London, followed by Chicago, and we are finishing the year in Ghana. For all of you negative people that say, "Oh, y'all never go to Africa. Y'all go to all these other places. Y'all never go to Africa." All right, what y'all want now? What you going to complain about now? We did it.
We have to remain humble.
We did it. All right.
Remain humble.
Ending the year in the motherland. Shout out to Toronto. They let the boy back in the country. It's been a long time. It's been a long time since I was in Toronto. I have a great history when it comes to Toronto. We'll talk about that.
That's another show.
We'll talk about that later on.
Another show.
But they let the boy back. It's been almost 15 years since I actually was in Toronto. Looking forward to Canada.
Yeah, our DM's probably blowing up right now.
Canada going crazy.
I got a strong feeling that our DMs are blowing up right now because they've been waiting for so long. Shout out to all my, there's a whole team, and I don't want to start naming their names, but there's a whole team of entrepreneurs that every time we travel somewhere, they're from Toronto. It's a whole Toronto conglomerate that comes to every event that we have and like, yo, when y'all coming? I'm like, yo, soon come.
We got to stay out there a week
The
too.
time is here, y'all. The time is here.
And shout out to Death Row Records. If you're a hip hop historian, you know that flyer is a remake of the legendary Death Row Vibe magazine cover. Shout out to Burke for putting that together.
Yes.
Iconic moment in hip hop history for that Death Row cover. So the flyer is a remake of that. Everything we do is in theme with hip hop in some capacity. So it makes perfect sense. Welcome to Death Row Records, the new Death Row. The new Death Row. Yes, sir.
It's the anniversary of the All Eyes on Me album.
I got it up there for you, Ian.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Mutah, my brother, love you. Hopefully we'll get a couple of, some Tupac family come through to the LA show. Let's get to it.
Yeah.
Can't wait. What do you guys want us to cover at the World Tour?
Speaking of Mutah, we got to go to Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
That's a different play.
That's another play. A whole nother play.
That's a whole nother play.
play.
All right. Let's get into this. Did you read the disclaimer?
I did not, but I will now. So, y'all know how this works, man. Do your own research. Our content is intended to be used and must be used for informational purposes only. It's very important that you do your own analysis before making any investment based on your own personal circumstances. You should take independent financial advice from a professional in connection with or independently research and verify any information that you find on our show and wish to rely upon, whether for the purpose of making an investment decision or otherwise. People continue to do the research. If it's great research, share it. If you know where you got it from, give credit to that person. Love is love. Let's build together.
Yes.
Let's go.
Rest in peace, Tupac.
Do you hear? Do you guys in on YouTube hear feedback from Ian's microphone? Let us know in chat.
Yeah, we live.
Yes, this is
Yeah, we
live.
are live.
This is a live show, ladies
Yeah.
and gentlemen.
We
We're
thought about it.
live.
We're live. Yes, we're here.
We flew around the world.
Flew all the way back to New York.
We flew around the world to make sure this is going to happen. All right. I don't really see anything, so we'll monitor the situation.
Yeah.
But all right. So let's talk about artificial intelligence, our favorite topic. We've been covering this
3 weeks, for
every
sure.
every week for the last month. Who will ultimately win the AI war between Microsoft and Google?
It's going to be a spirited race. I think Google jumped out too early trying to come up with a competitor for ChatGPT. Long term, I think Google has a very good chance to be dominant in the space, but I think for the next 2 years, Microsoft is going to have an aggressive handle on this first iteration or first season of AI for sure. I told Stock Club last week, like, write this down. The law of leadership is really important. So in branding, the person who does the thing first and puts the most money behind it usually is the person that's known for the thing. So like when you think of electronic vehicle, even though the Prius came out first, we now think of Tesla, right? They had more marketing dollars, better CEO, better product. So ChatGPT is like the most dominant force in AI right now. I do love that Google CEO came out guns blazing and put investment resources and human capital behind the project. But if you look at the name of it, Bard, terrible name. They launched it too fast and they didn't work all the bugs out of it. And I know last week everyone was reporting that it caused the stock to drop. That wasn't the sole reason why the price dropped, but it was not a good presentation. They didn't blow it out of the water. So I think in maybe 3 or 4 years, Google probably will get a competitive advantage, but over the next 2, Microsoft is going to have a stranglehold on AI for sure. So I would invest in Microsoft long term, but I do still like Google. There are other players who are trying to come up in the space, but those are the 2 that I will lean on heavily. Then the dark horse in that space will be NVIDIA for sure.
Yeah, I like what you said with the word seasons, because when the question was posed, I thought about it as seasons, but more so of if it's a battle, think of it in terms of a fight, right? And so fights have rounds, and so this is going to be a round by round basis. So I would say right now, round 1, we got to give Microsoft the advantage, just because that Google has had a dominance in the search space for so long. Obviously, nobody even thinks of Bing when they're thinking search, but the fact that they got ChatGPT, obviously from the investment with OpenAI, it changed the conversations over definitely the past 2 months. It has been exactly that. It's been about what Microsoft is doing with Bing and how there's such a difference in the search engines. Obviously, using verbal commands, that changes the game. Now, Google's response, probably not the greatest, right? Even they had executives saying like, we rushed this. This is more of a response. Yes, we were working on the technology, but because Microsoft got so far ahead and ChatGPT was dominating everything in the AI space, they responded with Bard. There's still a lot of flaws with Bard, right now. Right? Like even the way that it's computing, the way that it's answering, it's not even competitive at this point. So if we're going round by round, we got to give round 1 to Microsoft. But this could be these are heavyweights, right? This is going to be a 12-round fight. So round 1, I'm giving to Microsoft. Google, I'm sure will have a comeback. But like you said, there's going to be sleepers inside of this. And I think that other sleeper is going to be Amazon. Right? So I said when you think of like tech giants and you think about search, I feel Amazon's in a space, obviously, from having the cloud computing, from an ad standpoint, they somehow can create inside of this space and be one of those like hit like with a haymaker, like, oh, nobody thought that was coming, right? Because it's cool when everybody's in the space and they're doing their own thing, and it's like, all right, what is the competition doing? How can we add to that space? How can we disrupt it? How can we add value to the space? I think they're watching it, and I think they're saying, all right, well, that worked for them. This didn't work for them. Here's going to be our iteration. So I wouldn't be surprised if I saw Amazon step into space and become another competitor and make it a 3-man race.
It's really important to not compete head on. It's like if you have Jordans, you don't want Reeboks with a patent leather designed to look like the 11s. Like if they are going to be in the AI space, they're going to have to make text search better, maybe Google Maps better with AI, but they can't compete head on. Like ChatGPT has so much funding behind it, and especially with Elon being a part of it, you can't compete head on. Like it's a good lesson in branding, and in marketing. Like you never want to have anyone compare your brand or product versus anyone else's. You want to be on the island by yourself. A good book, please write this down. The Blue Ocean Strategy is a great book on this topic, but you want to make sure that when people think of you, they think of you in a silo and not you and 15 other people.
All right. Well, what do you guys think? Put it in the comments in YouTube. What do you guys think about this situation? We will monitor it, keep tabs on it, and report back weekly. In the meantime, let's go to the next topic. Is a 60-40 portfolio dead going forward? So, let's just give some insight for what 60-40 portfolio is. That historically has been deemed as a pretty safe way to invest. Moderate portfolio, which consists of 60% in equities, which is stocks, and 40% in bonds. So if you have $100,000, $60,000 would be in stock portfolio, $40,000 would be in a bond portfolio. And it has been for a long period of time thought to be, a moderate way to grow wealth over the course of time, not being too aggressive and not being too conservative either, kind of playing middle of the road. That is something that a lot of 401ks have. If you look at like a moderate portfolio inside of a 401k, it's usually probably a 60-40 makeup, as opposed to an aggressive portfolio, which is probably an 80-20 makeup, or a conservative portfolio, which is probably a 20-80 makeup, right? So that's just some information if you're just wondering what that means. And I'm sure a lot of people have looked at their 401ks or 529 plans, or they've seen different modules where it's aggressive, moderately aggressive, moderate, moderately conservative, and then conservative, right? So now you have some kind of level of background understanding of what that means. So what are your thoughts on a 60-40 portfolio, Ian?
I wouldn't say that it's dead, but I think one thing that we have to focus on, please write this down, the price in which you buy the asset is more important than ever. So things that historically have worked incredibly well, like if you look at the bond market, you go to TOT, that's the ticker. Like once we got to maybe 132.57, if I was a new client of that portfolio, that would be a time to stop buying bonds. Like the bonds, of course, shot up like crazy during 2020, fell apart. Of course, we didn't expect a drawdown, but that's why I always say look at the historical numbers. If you go back to 2004, the low is at $80.51. It's currently at 104.26. I don't know if we'll go back that low, but once we almost have hit 90%, 80% value in any asset, you can't buy it there. What COVID has proven, the recession that we're in now that they want to announce, is that discipline to right price action, and technicals matter more than ever. Historically, of course, people thought like a 60-40 portfolio would never lose. And then whenever you invest in something, all hell seems to break loose. You have to be mindful and watch for the prices in which you get in. And that's why I'm very particular about the prices I want to buy things, because has anyone ever bought a stock and someone told you that it was amazing, and then you bought it close to highs and then it fell 30, 40%, 20%? The price in which you acquire these assets are still important regardless. So whether it's the index fund, bond, Apple, Microsoft, any equity, you have to buy it at the right price. So it's not there, but when we get into these, it's really important.
I guess I'll ask you guys, and that's one of the things we used to talk about is like being aggressive when you're young and obviously more conservative as you get older. So do you think there's an ageism inside of that 60-40 rule, right? Like, is that something that the 30-year-old, I guess the millennials, should be looking at and saying, all right, this is a golden rule, this is a safe play at this age, or should it be more aggressive? Yeah.
Well, first, 5,000 people on YouTube, hit the like button. That's extremely important. To hit the like button. Let's start there. before we go any further, let's just start there. Hit the like button and share. Now, as far as age, of course, rule of thumb is that you should be more aggressive when you're younger, and more conservative when you get older. That's because you're going to have more time to make up. So like if you're invested in the stock market now, obviously it was a bad year last year, and let's say your portfolio went down 40%, right? It's bad, but it's not the end of the world. If you're 25, if you're 30 years old, it's not the end of the world, right? You still got a long time to actually work and produce income. You still got a long time before you get to the retirement age. So you never want to lose money, but it's not like if you're 75,
Right.
now the average life expectancy is 82 years old, right? So now you got 7 years to live. So if you lose half of your money at 75, now that's a crisis, right? Now you might have to go back to work and working at Walmart. Like, so of course you should always be, you should each decade, right? You should reevaluate your portfolio and probably become a little bit more conservative. But another thing is that people are living a lot longer these days as well. So it's like traditionally it's like, okay, as soon as you retire, just become extremely conservative. But let's say you retire at 60, you might live to 85. Now you got another 25, almost 30 years of life left, right? So you still have to have some, I think, stocks in your portfolio because you still want to beat inflation. So you just can't afford to ride it out, because now with inflation, and then when you're taking money from your account, the worst thing that you can do in a retirement account is outlive your money. Like you don't want to have to be in a situation where you have no more money left, right? Right. You want your money write this down. You want your money to outlive you. You never want to outlive your money. That's the worst thing that can happen. If you saved your whole entire life and now you're 80 years old and you like have 20,000 left, now you're in a tough spot. So the only way to really hedge that is you have to figure out how much money you can afford to take out every year. Most people think it's around 4 to 5% of your actual portfolio. But you also have to be invested intelligently. And I think that has to have some level of stocks in it. Now, it doesn't have to be aggressive stocks, right? Just what we're talking about, index funds, different things. You don't have to put all your money in Tesla, but you have to have some level of equity exposure. And when we're talking about equities, that's another name for stocks. You have to have some level of stock exposure because your account still has to go up over the course of time.
Also, too, in a bond market, when a bond market is negative, it is usually a sign of a recession. If you look at 2007, the top of the market was $95.12. It fell to $81.42 in 2007, led to the crash. I'm looking at the ticker TOT. If you're new to bonds, a price that I like is $88.82 for that particular asset. That would be a price I would look to add it to my portfolio. And I'm going to stress it again, the price. So whether it's real estate, cars, multifamily, businesses, the prices in which you choose to pay for the asset does have a tremendous effect, because like if you got into bonds in 2019, let's say the top at 143 went to 179 the next year, but it fell back to 104. So if your equities, your stocks are down and your bond portfolio is down, it's trouble. Only trust your own judgment. And I hope that I've given you guys enough resources to be able to do this assessment on your own. But most traditional portfolios don't work at scale for most people. Please be mindful. Only you are going to care about your money intently. And I've said this in 2020, 2021, when the market was falling apart, did your advisor call you? For 95% of people, the answer was no.
Yeah. I think this gives context, right? So like that explanation Shai just gave and what you just said, Ian, it gives context. Because you could tell people to invest early and invest often, but if there's no context around it, it doesn't. You don't really grasp it. And like when you explain it in that term, like, yo, you can be aggressive. Because like if you do this right in a 10-year span, let's say you start at 21 and there are some off years like you might have had last year. But let's say in the next 7 years, the appreciation that you've gained on your portfolio grows by like 50, 60%. And you have average 7% up into your 50s, you're pretty well off, right? So like invest early, invest often. And this is the reason why. As you get a little bit older, like you said, reevaluate every decade. and say, all right, well, now I can get a little bit more conservative, right? We've had these great gains. Let's get a little bit more conservative because we're getting older.
2 tech, 2 index, no stress. Would you rather have LeBron James or Jeremy Lin? Jeremy Lin went crazy for that 135 game stretch. Like whenever a company is producing returns like 40, 50%, the drawdown is usually equal. I would rather have a company that gives me 15, 20%, slow and steady. I know it's boring, but it's safe. Even if you look at Apple hired less in 2020 than Google, Meta, a lot of the tech competitors. And as a result, they have to lay off less people. Like, I want slow and steady that will win the race. And we saw last night in the game with Mahomes, like, the second half, they came out, they adjusted, and they just slowly chipped away at the Eagles defense. Damn, I was wrong. I mean, I was right on the differential in the score, but you just have to slowly chip away at these victories and then put in more shares. So, like, you want to ultimately get to a place, 100 shares, then 1,000, then 10,000 is the ultimate goal that you want to have for freedom. But slow and steady will always win the race.
Yeah. And shout out to Jeremy Lin. I know we say it like in comparison.
No, Jeremy Lin's actually a legend.
I mean, because we just sat down with an entrepreneur.
He's a legend.
Whose business was spawned because of Jeremy Lin.
What Jeremy Lin did, I never in life ever saw anything like this in history.
And you couldn't have expected it.
He was on Time magazine cover.
Yes.
I mean, he was playing for his life. That's the other part too. Like when you watch the doc, he's about to get waived. So to come out and perform, like, it's a great lesson of like, will you show up and perform?
No Insanity was a real thing. If you was in New York City, you understand what No Insanity meant. That was a real thing. Yeah. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
Shout out to Lin Sanity. Somebody said, what do you think about fixed index annuities?
It depends on your age, how much capital you have in it, and the rate of return you're looking for. So if you're looking at for safety, sure. Absolutely. Like if you're older, absolutely. And of course, like once you get past like 40 or at 50, you're looking for safer investments anyway. Because imagine like if in 2020, your portfolio was bleeding down 30, 40%. And I know some people that happened to in 08, like they drew down or their portfolio dropped 30% as they were going into retirement. You want safety as you're beginning to like exit and go into retirement. You don't want all of your capital being destroyed, but because of like economic calamity. So please be mindful. Another, once again, the most important indicator in the market is quantitative easing. So whenever the Fed begins to tell you we're going to raise rates or a recession is going to come, that's when you need to start to mark off how much capital you're going to need into retirement. There's always signals when a recession is going to come. I always say, if you turn on CNBC and everyone looks frightened, it's really bad. Everyone right now looks terrified. Shout out to Frank. Frank's the only one put a smile on his face. Everyone else looks terrified. Protect yourself at all costs, and I hope I've been able to help you guys somewhat navigate this crazy market. And if I made you money, please put yes in chat.
Yes. So a few things here. One, before we leave this talking point, because this is important for people to understand as well. When I was an advisor, I really fully understood this, that when you take money out, you never want to withdraw from a stock account in a down year, because then you magnify your losses, you double your losses. So it's like, if you can, this is why it's important to have multiple streams of income, but also multiple investment accounts. Some investment accounts are fixed. Some investment accounts are variable, which means it is going to vary depending on the market. But the worst thing that you can do is take money from a stock account when the account is down. Because like $100, right? If $100 goes to 50, that's a 50% loss. Mm-hmm. But for $50 to get back to 100, it has to have a 100% increase. This is where math is actually important. So understanding the math on that, you know that defense is better than offense, right? Mm-hmm. Defense is better than offense. So if you go from 100 to 75, well, that's bad. But then if you take $25 out, now you're compounding your loss even more. So now you gotta, instead of the 75 going back to 100, now you gotta go from 50 to 100. So you're making it extremely harder on your portfolio when you take money out during a down market. This is extremely important to keep in mind, especially for people that are in retirement. But if you don't have any other options to take money from, you have no choice but to take it from your retirement account when it's down. So
yeah, and
that's important to keep in mind.
Yeah, and we saw that in real life, right? With people invested in Tesla last year, it was at 360. It dropped down to 112. Yeah, it got up to 100%, but you haven't recovered from the losses that you had from the decline. And so this is why you gotta. Ian said, when you buy is vitally important, and so it's good to understand that. And again, give context, right? That the percentages on the way up are great, but the ones on the way down, you have to account for.
Yeah. You do.
Price always matters.
has said that the stock market will begin to fall apart on February 15th.
That is Wednesday.
You want to talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, this is one of those things when you have these open-ended questions and you have AI, giving you responses. And so, Ian, it was funny because you said they can't give you the prices. They can't give you the prices. Well, somebody asked, when do they see the stock market falling? And they gave the date, February 15th. So that is Wednesday. And then I started reading some.
But notice they scrubbed out. If you put in Apple, what's the best price to buy Apple or Microsoft? They won't give you
that way. They haven't done that yet. That is true. Which is, again, interesting. Then I started seeing some analysts create stories around that, and so it's changing the world, man. 3 months ago, forget 3 months ago, 5 months ago, we weren't thinking of AI in this sense. 3 months later, we have to think of it in the future context of what it can do. It's changing, and we thought it will change media, it will change education. It has a chance to change finance. So we got to be very mindful of what's happening.
What's your thoughts on? Everybody chime in on this. Ian,
you want a political take, or you want my honest opinion?
What's your honest opinion? This is Market Mondays. As long as please don't curse. Don't curse.
I'm not.
But
please.
You sound like my dad. My dad just told me, "Hey, ease back on that cursing now."
Please. Please.
It would be a great help if ChatGPT didn't filter out the information. I wish they would give a price. I know they don't want the risk associated with the probability of the market falling beginning on the 15th. I would like to see the data around that. So the people that I end up talking to about this at Goldman and JP Morgan, they're like, it's not going to happen in February. Like, capital is still flowing in from hedge funds to clients' accounts. Are we going to see a pullback? For sure. But is it going to be like a cataclysmic fall? We also have to, so this is the game inside of the game. NFTs and crypto fell apart. AI is a new sensation, right? So Hulk Hogan is dead, crypto and NFT. Here comes Ultimate Warrior, AI, and they're doing everything they can to keep it front and center. What better way to do so than to make it a predictive model around one of the most important financial ecosystems that is the stock market? If I were ChatGPT, I would pull an Elon-like move and I would give one stock or asset class and tell them either where to buy or where to short it. And then the fanfare of it around it would be even bigger than it is now. I think it's a little bit hypey to say on the 15th that it's going to fall.
Yeah. Without giving, obviously, I'm sure there's some technical analysis that was put into that, or maybe not, right? Like, who knows? The fact that you don't know where the prediction is coming from, it's like anybody could say that. But we have. So here's the thing, right? Like, we've seen the intelligence of this AI, right? We've seen it pass the bar. We've seen it pass a lot of testing. So there's obviously intelligence there. We just don't know where it's coming from.
It passed the bar and it passed the medical exam. Whatever exam they take.
No. We're not gonna play about the MCAT.
I'm just saying.
Thank you.
The practice
in my mind.
That's my soul.
Yeah, whatever.
People dedicate 6 years of their life for that.
They dedicate 15 years of their life for it. That's what I'm saying. So it's like, it passed the medical exam and it passed the bar exam. What's next?
Series 7.
Homework
Series 7.
Series 7 is next.
How much would the GDP of America need to drop in order for the stock market to go down? Also, we also know the market has the highest probability of going up on Mondays and Fridays, Tuesdays and Wednesdays, as much capital is not deployed. I would have loved to have seen them say that the market is going to fall on a Monday and we have like a Black Friday kind of event. I like technology. I think it's amazing. I will say, though, for all my marketers, A lot of this technology that ChatGPT built was copied from Russell Brunson. Brunson had this shit out 4 years ago. Might clip it out.
Please.
There's a game inside of it. Everyone that was pushing NFT heavy on the venture side, how do you pivot so hard after doing marketing for so long on NFTs when there are, and this is the second time that internet marketing entrepreneurs have been copied and or ripped off, and then they went to angel and VC. Do I think the technology is amazing? Absolutely. Do I think it is the second coming of Christ as they're marketing it now? No. They've scrubbed so I was on the second version. 3.5 is dramatically filtered in comparison to 2.0.
Oh, you talking about chat? Yeah, so that was one of the things in round 2. We didn't get to round 2, but we'll get to that at a later time. That Microsoft Google battle. They're thinking 4.0 is going to be the one that brings everybody back to Bing, or at least brings people to Bing.
I'll go on record now. No one's going to Bing.
Okay.
We'll probably see an uptick of 9% to 10%.
What did you say, percentages wise?
9 to 10%.
Take a little bit of market. I mean, you take a little bit of market share. That's how you start. I mean, it's going to be interesting, man. Round 1, we already saw. If they get ahead 8 or 9 rounds, bro, it's going to be tough.
Bing, they're going to have to rebrand. Bing's not going to do it. Bing's not going to do it. Google, big misstep.
Yes.
Big misstep.
Yeah. And that was a part that was kind of surprising. I was reading that the executives were like, why did we do this? We shouldn't have done this. This was reactive. This wasn't proactive. We were reacting too early. We weren't ready to release this. It wasn't time. Yeah. But they had to do something. So
what will be interesting, however, is when they begin to integrate the AI into YouTube. That's going to be, now if they can filter comments, this is what I really want to see. I want to see one of these AI platforms have an autoresponder for not only email, social media, but YouTube engagement. That would be different. So now if you can find a way to integrate Bard into YouTube, and now you can tie that into AdSense and now have engagement around the clock, Microsoft can't touch that.
Can't touch this. Yeah. Like Hammer said. All right, let's look into the Super Bowl. Let's talk about this. Hit the like button first and foremost. Hit the like button.
We got?
Yes.
5,800 people. Let's get this bad boy up to 6,000.
We got to do cash apps tonight. Let's get to 6,000. I'm gonna do cash apps.
Let's do it.
Let's get this bad boy up to 6,000. We might have some surprises. Like and share. Super Bowl. I love Philly. Philly's one of the home of some of the greatest rappers. It's just a very rich culture, good people. But there was no way that I was not gonna go for Kansas City. I grew up as a Kansas City Chiefs fan.
I told you guys stop saying fan, bro.
When they had Joe Montana and Christian Okoye. So
we got footage.
It's no disrespect to Philly, but we knew that was gonna happen. And I took won some bets too. Shout out to Neo. Shout out to Adam.
Damn,
but we'll talk about the game later on. Right now, we will talk about the most important person in the Super Bowl, Rihanna.
Yeah.
Shout out to Riri.
Sponsored by Apple.
Congrats.
Congratulations to her and ASAP Rocky.
Rakim.
Yes.
Shout out to Rocky.
Child number 2. When we were at the game and I said, she looks pregnant. And you was like, I don't know.
That's not what happened.
What'd you say?
I said, yo, she's pregnant. You were like,
I said she's pregnant. I said, yo, she looks pregnant. I said, no, this is what I said. I said, did she have a baby yet? And he was like, yeah, the kid is 6 months old. And I'm like, yo, she looks pregnant. She's about to have a baby right now.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with the person. I'm like, yo, she's pregnant, dude. Just the way she's moving. I was like, that's not really how she performs. But she sounded incredible. So I'm like, yo, she got the breath control. But then, I mean, obviously, because we couldn't, they kind of obviously on TV, it looks pretty, she's rubbing the belly. We couldn't really see that. But yeah, I mean, we saw it and I was like, yeah, she's pregnant. And then a couple of people, we had a pretty good section we were sitting.
Chiefs, we were in the Chiefs section. Shout out to all the good people in our section, man.
Some 12-year-olds cursing at me.
Yeah, we was in the Chiefs section.
8-year-olds cursing at me.
We were outnumbered, but we were with the good guys.
Yeah.
So let's talk about this.
Yeah, let's do this.
Rihanna.
I got a question to start. Was that a hold or no?
Yeah, he admitted it.
What?
You talking about our guy? At the end of the game when he
End of the game.
Brad.
Oh yeah, he definitely, yeah.
He admitted it.
Bradbury.
He said it. He said it himself. He said that he was hoping that the
Gotcha.
referee wasn't going to call it, but
Yeah,
he held him.
He definitely held him.
Very classy move. We actually know him. And
Fact.
I think that was very classy of him to actually admit it.
Yeah.
If you did it, you did it. It doesn't. That's not the reason why they lost the game.
No, it played a role in the outcome.
It played a role.
Yeah, it played a role in the outcome.
Everything
he
plays
was
a role.
guilty of it. He was guilty of it and said, "Yo, I did it. I was wrong, and I thought I would get away with it. I didn't."
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Rihanna sold
Yeah.
an NFT before Super Bowl. This is what people might not be aware of. She sold out her NFT before the Super Bowl.
Well, so not her. It was a producer. So the producer's name is Deputy. So he produced on "Bitch Better Have My Money," right? And so he sold some of his royalties in that song, which is now most people are probably thinking like, why would you do that? Well, if you're an artist and you watch the Super Bowl, you've seen what people's catalogs do right after they perform on the Super Bowl. We saw Justin go up 600%. We even saw Khaled just recently at the Grammys. His album streams went up 600%. So you see the amount of streaming going up. So he thought in a very clever way, how can I make some money right now? How can I increase my income? And so he sold royalties from "Bitch Better Have My Money." Here's the crazy part. What's the first song that Rihanna does at Super Bowl? She comes out to the song.
Yeah.
So he sold it, and it closed out. It sold out in 30 minutes, and it closed 2 days before the Super Bowl. I'm not sure if he had knowledge that would be the first song that she performed, but it definitely was. And so imagine what her catalog is doing. We'll probably get the numbers probably sometime during this week, what her Super Bowl performance does to her catalog. And so that now increases the value of that said produced song. I think it was a pretty clever move, knowing that she was going to be obviously the Super Bowl performer. They knew that the catalog was going to go up. He knew he had royalties in that. I mean, it's you own it. You can do what you want it, right?
Yeah. Yep, you can.
Yeah.
So does this lead to a resurgence in the NFT marketplace?
Possibly. Bieber sold his catalog. Congrats to QC for selling for $300 million. I'm still wondering what's going to happen with the Apollo. There is a liquidation event happening across the board in the music space, and if Universal or Sony puts a concerted effort during a recession, I think the leftover catalog that is not selling, they'll turn into NFTs. And I'm gonna be very honest, I wouldn't be surprised if Scooter Braun does not get together with a big crypto player and begins to create a marketplace for it, because he's buying up catalogs like crazy. Like he's on this Michael Jackson tour. Like, I'll take this one, I'll take that one, I'll take that one. He's buying up everything. And since we are flat in the market between that and gambling, I'm really wondering if in like the next 10 years, if those markets get combined, gambling and NFTs, and there's some solid players in them like Interscope, Sony, etc. If film rights are sold from Marvel to own part of it, I think we'll see a resurgence in the NFT space in a few years if Universal or Sony gets behind it. I know this was a small test, but everyone I talk to on the music side is looking for ways. They'll probably rebrand it and call it something else other than the NFT, but I do think for sure as a part of Web3, the music industry is going to be very integral in NFTs and Web3 being popular for sure.
I think what the key word that you used there was a small test. And so people who received the NFT, they have a portion of 0.003% of the streaming royalties from that song. And that's not that big of an amount, but when you start to think about, well, what does YouTube pay? What does Tidal and what does Apple pay for streaming? Right? You never know. Like when people send their catalogs, yeah, that might be today, but what happens when that song becomes the theme song for a company's campaign, and then that ad runs around the world and has 4 billion views? I mean, you have a percentage of that, and so it's an interesting investment. We spoke about having royalties in music. We talked about the gentleman who owned a piece of Cardi B's Bodak Yellow and how that paid out. Right, he invested $10,000 in it before it became a hit. And obviously, 10 million records sold later sounds like a great investment. So yeah, it's a small portion, but it's a portion of a song. And they said that the recipients are going to receive a payment every 6 months based on the streaming revenue. So obviously, I think somebody on YouTube just said that the Fenty, the clothing brand, obviously that's a different brand from the music, went up 833%. I would imagine that the music catalog will probably go up in the triple digits as far as percent, if not in the thousands, just because people haven't heard new music from her in 6 years and they haven't seen her perform in 7. So yeah, we'll see.
I'll say this personally: if Spotify, Universal, Sony, Lucian makes a concerted effort or does anything with Vive, Bored Ape Yacht Club, it's going to be game, set, match. It's going to be game, set, match because like the industry is changing dramatically. I don't think Bieber sold his catalog by accident. I told you guys last year I was trying to buy Big Sean's catalog when, a couple of things came up. Post Malone, I think, will be next to sell. Probably Doja Cat. If I see Spotify or Lucian get involved and do anything in the space, it's definitely going to be a sign that, some change is going to come.
Yeah, I actually said this 2 years ago that I thought that this would be like the IPO, right? When you think of IPO, initial public offering, this is a way, and when Nas did it with a few of his songs, and this is a way, and like you said, the Cardi, there's already apps and websites where you can actually purchase people's music, and we've talked about that, and we published a few different things about that. But I think that it is the new way, and shout out to La Russell, pioneering the space as well. But yeah, I mean, it's a new way for fans to engage with their artist, with their favorite artists, right? So now it's not you're just buying a poster or you're just buying a limited collective item hoodie. Now you can actually be an owner in their catalog, right? And it could be done through NFTs. It could be done through a variety of different things using the blockchain technology. But I feel like that's something that is a no-brainer if you think about it. And why would you not? Why would you not want to invest in your favorite artist's catalog? Especially, it's an investment. Yeah. Especially if it's also sentimental. It has sentimental value as well. Even if you don't make any money from it, just knowing that you own a piece of Rihanna's catalog is impressive, right? Just knowing that you own a piece of Nas's catalog, Jay-Z, whoever your favorite artist is, right? Like, that's dope within itself. But then if you look at it from a standpoint of, okay, I can actually make some royalty money off of this on an ongoing basis, that's pretty cool. And then the good thing with the NFTs is that you can put a commission in place. So if you sell it, you can still get paid from it as, 10%, 20, whatever you put as your commission over the course of time. So it's interesting. But I definitely think that it kind of democratizes it a little bit on that realm, and it gives creatives a little bit more flexibility and more freedom. This is something that Dre, I don't want to talk too much about what he has going on, but we're going to get him on here soon. Shout out to Dre, but he's working on something in the space with the Web3 technology where you don't have to sell your catalog. You can still retain ownership of your catalog, but because people are selling their catalogs for liquidation events, right? For a large lump sum of money. So his thing is that, all right, instead of just liquidating your whole entire catalog, what if you can make money, not as much money as a complete liquidation event, but you can still make money by having it available, but you still maintain ownership. And then when you talk about like the DAOs and different things of that nature, like all of this kind of ties in. So it's interesting to see the future of music for sure.
And it's one of those things, especially, I mean, not necessarily if the artist does it. So like when we think about Nas, and obviously everybody knows how I feel about Illmatic. Yeah, Nas created Illmatic, but there's producers on that album. So imagine the guys, because producers only get paid once to do that song, right? They get a lump sum of money to produce a song, and a lot of times they don't get royalties on the back end. That's something that we had to learn. Shout out to Take Keith. But imagine if Pete Rock and LES and Large Professor and Q-Tip decided that, you know what, they're going to give you royalties from their ownership in that song, and now you can own a piece of Illmatic. It's a no-brainer. I'm doing it. I'll be the first one in line, or the first one online getting a piece of that, just because of what that album means to me. And Beyonce's another one. Somebody type Beyonce. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Right? Like imagine the producers. If Dream decides that, being the writer and the producer, now you got a bigger percentage of ownership on the song. If he decides to say, hey, I'm going to give ownership of one of these hits that I've written for her, this is a no-brainer.
Here's my fear.
It's out of here. It's a no-brainer.
Two-part, and let me know if I'm echoing still, but two-parter. My fear is we already know publishing is taken away. It's going to be, I think, in the contracts is going to be crafted as such that the artist is going to look like they're selling the NFT, and it's really going to be the label behind the scenes that is running everything and taking everything. So when I had to, shout out to my Def Jam family, when I had the meeting last year, I didn't know artists didn't get health insurance. There's no legal fees. There's no 401k plan for artists. They're basically 1099. Anytime, please write this down. Anytime there is a technology or tool of liberation for Black people, it somehow always gets taken into the company structure, absorbed, and the artist never gets that money. Why do we think this would be any different? Number two, I've told you guys before, when a certain number of CEOs begin to resign, it is a sign of recession. Go look at how many catalogs have been sold in the last 18 months. If you think that is by accident, you're crazy. Dre sold his. QC sold his. How old is Bieber? 34, 35? He sold his. People are not selling these catalogs as a result, and the interesting part is going to happen. I'm worried that the multiple that the companies are going to get that are buying them are going to go up 10, 15x over the next 5 or 6 years with sync licensing, the metaverse. There's some interesting stuff that they're looking to do with blockchain technology in the music industry. Please be careful. And all of a sudden, if they get the voice part down, I'll say this, I've never said it before. I've talked to a couple people at Interscope. Let's say if I get an artist that writes well, let's say I go find Quentin Miller and I get him to do an Afrobeats project, but I can get the AI of someone who sounds like Burna Boy, and I can sign a person to be the face, but the AI does the voice and he does the writing. The multiples on these soundtracks and hits are going to be different, because now I'll be able to get one artist to create one album and I'll be able to make 50 derivative works out of it. And it's not something that I'm theorizing. It's something that I've talked to someone about already when I was in Mexico. I'm going to ask the artists not to sell their rights. I know it's tough. Not to sell their publishing. I know it's tough. And the music industry is a tough beast to battle against. But I think the other part of AI that we're not talking about is we're going to see some of our favorite artists, favorite producers be forced. Like, this is going to be digital redlining. They're going to be forced to sell, or we're going to mow you over. It's tough. I don't have an answer for it. I wish I did. But maybe we collectively as a community can put a plan together to protect our artists and our creators.
Get down and get mowed over.
On that note of protecting artists and creative, I want to say something. That we was having a conversation at dinner yesterday, and it's pretty insightful conversation that we had. And when I do these monologue things, I don't do it every week because I'm not inspired. I don't want to just talk for no reason, but I do want to talk when I feel like it's appropriate, because we have a platform, and it's important to shed light on certain things. So, we've been extremely blessed and fortunate to be going to a lot of these different things. We go to the Grammys, we're in Super Bowl week, we're everywhere. We're literally everywhere. We're like going after the E-Guard at this point.
Yeah. Got a good chance.
That hasn't been anything that we're not at. But what's concerning to me is like when you think of this word culture, right? And a lot of people define our culture for us, and we define our culture for ourselves as well. But the people that are always 9 times out of 10 like really focused on, celebrated, elevated, it's a small population, and they're musicians, they're athletes, and they're entertainers, comedians, different things of that nature. And I don't want to be divisive, because rappers are important. Everybody knows how we feel about Jay-Z and Nas, and shout out to Meek Mill, ran into him, good brother. 2 Chainz, good brother. Our poets' voices are important, but it's lopsided. And it's like when people want to do things from other races and they want to involve the culture, they're only involving rappers. So it's like, what does that say about your thoughts on us? That the only value add that we can provide is to entertain you. Because when their peers are around, they're not rappers. They're entrepreneurs. They're billionaires. They're titans in industries. They're hedge fund. But then the counterparts for black people are only hip hop artists. So, but the level of respect for the black entrepreneurs are not given on the white side, but it's also not given on the black side either. Because when we champion and when we celebrate 9 times out of 10, how we treat the people that have made historical moments in sports and entertainment is way different from the people that have made historical moments in the business world. And we also got to stop normalizing things that are extremely almost impossible to do. So like, it's like for us, for instance, right? It's like, okay, this whole thing started with an iPhone. We get to a point where we can have InvestFest with 14,000 people and sell out Royal Albert Hall and Madison Square Garden. And then it's like, well, people might not be aware. Well, they should be aware. You should be aware. Because that's like, it's negligence if you're not aware. Because it's like, okay, if you own a baseball team and you don't know that there's top prodigies in the Dominican Republic, well, you're getting fired. Because there's really no excuse for the incompetence of not knowing that. So to say, oh yeah, it's cool, they have a pot, like it's almost impossible to accomplish what we've been able to accomplish, and you're trying to normalize it, but somebody makes a hit record, and you're running after them like they're Superman. So we can blame white people, and they do have a lot to explain why they only want to champion hip hop music and why that's the most important part of the spectrum. But we also got to look internally at ourselves as well. Because why do we only celebrate a small portion of what we represent? Right? Why is that the most important thing? Why are those people considered legends and we're considered social media personalities? So this is something that's extremely important, because how the world views us is how we view ourselves and how other people are viewing us. And I mean, it's cool. And like I said, I don't want to cause division, because a lot of these guys are my friends and they're important. But at some point we got to just take a step back and say, okay, what's more important? Is it just to celebrate people wearing weird clothes and doing funny dances? Because when Robert Smith is not getting the same treatment that a white billionaire is getting. Nobody knew who Don Peebles was until he came on the platform. So even our billionaires are not given the same respect. Because I see people they'll do things for other races that are billionaires that they would never do for a black billionaire. So it at a certain point in time, the admiration has to turn into asking questions, where it's like, nah, it's not like, okay, slutty vegan, Pinky is cool, like she's a cool entrepreneur. No, she's a leader. She needs to be treated the same way that any entertainer is treated, or better. Because I don't care, like Derek Falcon said, I don't care how good you are, at some point in time, your career is going to be over. But if you're an entrepreneur, you're really changing the dynamic of your community. So stop treating the entrepreneur like, oh, he's just a cool person to hang around with, or they're doing some cool things. No, stop doing that. Treat the entrepreneur as somebody that is the most important person in the whole spectrum, because nothing moves without it. And if not, then we always going to be entertaining other people. It's like a circus. So at some point, you have to stop being entertained and really look at things critically and say, okay, if this is really for the culture is more than sports and entertainment. The culture is media, The culture is entrepreneurship. The culture is activism. The culture is politics. These are all important parts of the culture. So if you're trying to uplift the culture, you got to uplift all the voices, not just the people that are on TV. It's an extremely important point. I just wanted to highlight that. And like I said, it's not a divisive thing because these people are important and they've given us motivation. They've given us inspiration, sports and entertainment. But at some point we have to balance the playing field a little bit.
Yeah. I mean, it's important for a number of reasons, but another thing is like, for as far as people are thinking, we have gone in this space and trailblazed, right? If we're not being recognized in some of these spaces, what does that say for the everyday entrepreneur who's fighting to get to that spot, right? Like it becomes a place where it's like, yo, they haven't even reckoned these guys and look how much they've done. But it's important that you say it because not only are they not being recognized, right? Our billionaires and our people who are successful in business, they're not even being invited. Right, it doesn't even become the cool thing to even have them there, and you got to sit back and wonder, like, well, why is this happening? Who's making the decisions? Who's sending out these things, and who's creating the atmosphere to have our entertainers there? Do they look like us?
Shout out to Diddy. Shout out to people that have actually amplified the voices of what we have going on.
There's some out there.
The entrepreneurial movement. Shout out to Diddy.
Yeah.
Shout out to Steve Harvey. There's a lot of people. I don't want to seem like there's nobody that's. I hate that too. I don't want to put that narrative out there like all black people are against. Like, no, that's not true. There's people that's actively helping move the ship forward. But then there's some people that's not. And like I said, it might be like some people say, well, they're not aware. Well, you should be. You should be aware. What else you have to do? Like they're like, that's what if you say you gotta do more work, how much more can you do? Like that's like saying, okay, look, like there's a basketball player that's averaging 50 points a game in college, and they're like, yo, you gotta work. How much more can you do? Yeah. And how much more can you do?
The bottom line was, it was like, yo, even if we look at it in the business world, right? Even if that analogy of the person in the sports world that's averaging 50 and you gotta do more. If the scouting team, right, there's going to be, like, you might not be aware of it, right? Let's say that your schedule is so packed that you're working on so many things that you're not aware. There's got to be a scouting team that's telling you this. And if the scouting team's not telling you, then they need to go, right? Because it's too important for you to miss. You miss out on a generational thing or a generational opportunity that could affect your business for the long run.
Absolutely.
And so you got to look at it like that. Yo, if they're not telling me, if they're not making me aware, then why are they around? Because they're not adding value, or they're not telling you the things that are valuable. If you're that busy, I'm not saying it. If you're that busy.
Here's the thing, though. I want to get to the root cause of why. Rashad, great monologue, great segment. Dobby said it in the comments on YouTube, is that we have to work together. So in order to, like, whenever you have demonization of an artist, platform, character, brand, entrepreneur, that's to drive the valuation down. So if everyone is uplifted, it puts a lot of competitive pressure. And I tell you guys publicly, I've been watching podcasts for a long time. Like, you guys have been able to pull off something that a lot of people before you have not been able to do. I won't name any names because I've learned, those emails and calls behind the scenes are not fun. But number one, they promote rappers and artists because they own the rappers and artists. I was having a conversation yesterday. There's a huge difference between black entertainment television of yesteryear and BET now. So even when I'm on calls with black brands, it's usually not us on a Zoom call that represents the culture. The culture and the movement of the people and the corporation of the culture are two totally different things. Number two, music is usually a tool of manipulation. So if they own the catalog, they own the rights. I know Isaiah said I'm like Mr. Doom and Gloom. I don't like getting on here and being pessimistic about what is happening, but I'm having artists come to me, even executives coming and saying, hey, if this AI thing really takes off how they want and they get the voice part down, they'll be like, okay. The conversation was, I'm like, hey, what we can do to get Bad Bunny and Burna Boy to do an album? They're like, they already are trying to work on it through AI. You know how many jobs that, like, if they get a wave to take over Afrobeats, and what Bad Bunny's doing, it's tough. Number three, we have to work together. All allies, all competitors, and we have to go and take over one network. And people have tried to do it in music. People have tried to do it in podcasting. But the answer is collaboration. But the issue is always who gets equity and what percentages. The only way this is going to change is if we come in as a force and take over a bunch of companies and add so much value, get proper splits on an equity and cap table, and then take some of these companies public. But a lot of the times, the rappers and the public facing people that are presented to the people are under these destructive ass deals where they're going broke in private but looking rich in public. So that's why a lot of times we'll elevate artists, and I know some of them, you guys know some that are in bad deals. Like it was somebody last year who was saying that they made X amount of dollars. It's like, we know that's not true. But these people are put front and center. And going back to the NFT thing, I will not be surprised in the next year if a whole bunch of independent artists saying that they're pushing their own NFT, and labels behind the scenes get everything on the back end in perpetuity. Now, even in deals now, you're going to see a lot of perpetuity plus one lifetime. So that's you for your entire life plus your child. Your child can't even get the royalties in some of these deals that are being rolled out now. So we have to stick together. Even those who don't like each other, man, we have to get the market cap so high of the culture that we are able to get the equity that we truly need and deserve.
I agree. So yeah, just wanted to, sometimes you just need, and it's like, it's not even a beef thing. It's like sometimes you just need to just be reminded about something.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, yo, Can you, like somebody had asked me something the other day. They're like, can you do this? And I thought about it. I said, yes, I can. I should have actually been doing it before. It's just negligence. But if it wasn't brought to my attention, I would have probably continued to not do it. So it wasn't like when they asked me, like, yo, can you do this? It wasn't like I was combative. I didn't take it as, them being disrespectful to me. It was brought to my attention. I looked at it as an objective person. Said, you're right. You're right. That's the whole point of this situation. We don't want to, because we all need each other. But sometimes we just need a reminder. You need a reminder sometimes.
Yeah.
You want to go dead or alive segment?
DOA?
Yes.
Let's do DOA. Ian, you ready?
Yes. Somebody made a joke on your page earlier. Like, I say everything is dead by Apple and Microsoft. So I'm like, let's bring it back. And that was funny as hell. Like, if you're in YouTube, please put your Cash App in. That was funny. But yeah, I want to give some ones that I really like, other than Apple and Microsoft.
All right. So funny you say that. Should we start with Apple?
Yes, please.
Look,
Apple's dead. Spoiler alert.
Breaking news alert. We're going to start with there. We're not going to end there. Okay, we're going to start because obviously we have to talk about it. So, Apple, let's go. We already know the fate of this company. Go.
Amazing, but 2035, trouble may be there, but alive.
You said in the year 20. What'd you say? 2035 or 2025?
2035.
Why?
I said this before last year.
You want to share why?
Is it? Well, can I chime in for a sec? Does this have to do with the life cycle of successful companies?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead. Then now you can elaborate.
Yeah. No, you hit the nail on the head. Go watch episodes from last year, season 2, and I'll explain when we're on tour in Ghana and Market Mondays World Tour. There you have it.
Well played.
Apple alive.
Apple's alive. Let's go with my company that I love to talk about, Disney. What we got?
I'm worried, but we need a health checkup on Disney. I want to see what the plan is for the next year, what the succession plan is. So I would say we need a little health checkup on Disney.
They're alive. They're alive. Bob Iger's back. He's restructuring. Things are going to be turning up for the future. They are revisiting this Hulu situation. They're revisiting the ESPN situation. Obviously, if you haven't, if you're not aware, they own 66% of Hulu. Comcast owns the other 33%. They obviously have majority control of it, but they don't own 100% of it. The new subscribers are not at the level that they would like, so they're revisiting. Maybe there's a sell potentially. But Bob Iger's back. Things are looking great, but the succession plan is important. Bob. For those not in the know, he is only back for 2 years. He was the former CEO, left. Obviously, we saw what happened to the stock's price. It Obviously fell down with the rest of the stock market, and he's here to restore order. So we will see on Disney, but there is a pulse. So we are not putting
Can you guys explain why a CEO is so important in picking a stock?
That's the coach of the team. If you look at Andy Reid, you can say Andy Reid outclassed Philadelphia's coach back when Kobe had Phil Jackson. Like, that's the person that makes the decisions for the direction of the company. So often I'm looking at the character, the habits that he has, and then the team that he or she builds around them. Bob's a great CEO, great visionary. And sometimes, companies will lose their way, especially when we are in the bull market. It's happened to everyone. It's happened to all of us. Sometimes you won't be as strict on your rules or principles that got you to the place. It's the 100-year anniversary of Disney. I think they'll get back to some of those core principles that made them special and magical. But I still think they need to offload some of their debt. Quick homework assignment for everyone on YouTube. What is the net profit margin of Disney over the last 10 years? So the CEO is important because they are like the player. They're like LeBron, like they're a player and a head coach in one that decides the vision for the company.
Disney has a pulse. That is good. We spoke about them a few weeks ago. ExxonMobil, ticker XOM.
Alive and well. If you go look at XOM, they've been on an incredible tear, hit new highs. They're actually surpassed the highs of 2008. Breakout has been incredible past $65.89. They'll slide down at some point, but ExxonMobil is absolutely alive and well.
Another good one, and we spoke about it during the pandemic because malls were closed, and obviously there's been a reopening, but are they shopping at the same rate? A good indication would be to follow what this company's doing. SPG, Simon Property Group. What do we think?
Slow but steady. Shout out to my home state of Indiana. They are, the high of 229.10 was in 2016. SPG is alive. I mean, they'll probably slide back some probably to like 106 or $98. But over the next 2 or 3 years, I have them going back to like 199. If you're in it for like a swing trade, multi-year swing trade, I'll probably get out like at 197 or 199. But yeah, SPG is alive. Simon Property Group.
Good one. All right, let's go to some in the healthcare field. Merck, MRK, ticker. What we got?
Alive and kicking. Amazing. Merck has been doing incredible. I'm not going to compare them to Lilly, but they are on the same kind of run. So they are alive and well. I would actually say that Merck's doing amazing. You guys can put this in the watch list. Stock Club, I'll have a price for you on Wednesday, but Merck is doing absolutely amazing for sure.
They have low blood pressure over there at Merck. All right, now Ian, this is an ETF.
Yes. Okay.
They're in 2020. A lot of gains were made. Kathy Woods was, very, very successful investor, and she's been beaten down since. Let's talk about ARKK, ARK Fund.
It's in critical condition. It's not dead yet. We should bounce to maybe the highest I have them getting to is like $58.22. If ARK gets to like $10, $10.24, I wouldn't mind swing trading it.
That would be a mighty
10.20. I mean, it got to 29.43 last year. Yeah, so it's not that far off from where it could be. The high is 159.70. Yeah, it's in critical condition. I wouldn't say that it's dead yet.
And
I wouldn't count.
Tesla is still leading the fund,
but
if I'm not mistaken. Tesla is still leading pretty much every ARK Innovation fund. Well, ARK Innovation is ARKK, but all the rest of the funds is led by Tesla.
I mean, it's a great point. Like the reason, if you look at her rotation and how often they trade stocks, it's really hard to be that accurate with that number of like she had great companies, they were just overtraded. And that's why, like, every Invest Fest, every Market Mondays live, I try and stress, like, the number of trades that you take per year is going to dictate the alpha or return that you're going to have. You can't trade 60 or 70 stocks, 80 stocks, and then expect that. Like, and this is not my theory. You can go look at Peter Lynch. You can look at John Bogle, who invented modern day index funding. Jim Simmons. Like, you can look at any big hedge fund manager, and they'll tell you like there's only a certain amount of trades you can take um, before you start to have decay in your portfolio. Even if you do it on the quant side, like even when you hear about the micro trades that are done for fractions of pennies, there's a cap on how many they'll do per day.
Can we talk about the I mean, because it's interesting. If I'm a beginner, if I'm, trading is new to me, and I do an ETF, and I get like a company or an ETF like ARK, and we just talked about leadership when we spoke about Bob Iger and Disney. I mean, it could be confusing, right? If you're following the way that Kathy's investing, right? We see Coinbase pull back 6%, and she says, "Well, I'm buying 800,000 more shares," or Tesla pulls back, and I'm buying 600,000 more shares. What are your thoughts on that for the beginner? I mean, is that growing? I mean, do you grow confidence in a leader that's doing things like that? Like, how should the new beginner look at these type of things?
Historically, the ones that are the best: Ray Dalio, John Paulson, Warren Buffett, Jim Simmons. The best hedge fund managers don't speak that often. So, like, if you have to market your strategy, it usually isn't that good. So I know it can be confusing, but like I'm not listening to the person that like I'm always going net worth first, return, and then there's some tells. Like even if we go back to the Madoff documentary, any person that sells very aggressively usually is doing so to raise capital because they are not able to produce a return on their own. Like the most successful traders, hedge fund managers don't advertise. You don't see Paul Tudor Jones on every day screaming, hey, like he'll talk about the macro environment and how he'll trade. He won't walk you through his S&P 500 ES futures trades at all. So I'm always mindful of that. Like if you want the clearest example, shout out to him because I honored that I had a chance to meet him and chat with him for a little bit. But like the whole inverse Kramer ETF thing, like if you're constantly making picks on a daily basis, you're going to get a lot wrong. If Kramer did that show once a month, his accuracy would probably be 90%. So I'm looking for managers who talk a lot less. And then if you look at the people that run muni funds or global funds, sovereign wealth funds, they aren't saying anything. They aren't saying anything. Making money hand over fist. Like, okay, who runs the wealth fund for Dubai and Abu Dhabi? Silencio. Who runs it for Mexico? Cállate. Wealth is quiet. Wealth is quiet.
Ian has been working on his languages. We're very impressed by that, Ian. Let's go with a couple more. How about Shake Shack? Recently, they announced that they're going to be trying drive-thrus, which is something that the company hasn't done in a lot of locations. But they've had a challenging year, I would say.
Yes. I would say.
Ticker really quick. Ticker SHAK.
Yeah. Critical condition. They've had a tough year, but if I have to compare them to McDonald's is eating their lunch, no pun intended, and is the most dominant real estate company that no one ever talks about. If Chick-fil-A ever goes public, which I don't, you guys can tell me if they will, but I don't think that they will anytime soon, and I don't blame the family for not taking it public. But if I'm looking at the competition head on, McDonald's is way better for sure. So Shake Shack, great product. But the stock I would not touch. I wouldn't say that it's dead, but it's in critical condition.
How about this one? SRAD, Sport Radar Group AG, ticker SRAD.
I wouldn't touch it. It's closer to being dead than alive. It was at $20 in October. It's at $12.58 now. No real competitive advantage. Yeah, I'm gonna say this one is dead. I wouldn't invest in this one.
Slow on the vital signs for them. Real slow. It's real slow for them. All right, let's do like two more. RKT, ticker RKT. That is Rocket Companies.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch this with a 10-foot pole.
Ooh. Are we putting the official dead sign on it, or what are we doing? Vital signs?
I mean, I'm not gonna be salacious today. I'm being like, I'm in like calm meditation mode, right? No, I wouldn't touch this one. This is like one of the stocks from 2020 that did pretty well, popped up to 40, and then it's been sliding down. It's no good. I wouldn't touch it long term.
All right, let's finish out with this. Mullen Group, ticker MULN, Mullen Automotive Inc. We had them at a high. This is in March of 22. They were over at $3. They have fallen to today. They closed at 37 cents.
Espiritu Santo.
The coffin has come out.
Go ahead and put this on the ground. This one's dead. And if you look at that price, where was that in 2012? Oh, baby. It's ugly.
Oh, yeah.
No, I wouldn't touch it. This one's dead.
Wait, let's give context here, Ian, because people are not listening or not watching on their screens. Like they're watching Market Mondays, but they don't have the computers in front of me. In 2013, it was trading at $570.
Yes.
I just said today it closed at 37 cents.
No good.
Yeah, the vital signs are pointing toward death, if not have been dead already.
I mean, has anyone heard of Mullen Group? Like, I won't pick. I'll pick Ford. Ford is at $13. I don't know if I can name 100 people who's even heard of Mullen Group. If you work there, I'm sorry. I apologize. This is my thoughts, and these thoughts are just Ian's and those of Red Panda Rebellion. But I've never heard 10 people talk about this company. So no.
Coffin.
The overall automotive sector, I wouldn't touch anyway. I'll get into my little conspiracy theory about electronic vehicles and the whole sector, maybe in London.
Conspiracy theory.
But
love them.
I mean,
it's important. I saw people talking about flying objects. We covered it last week, and since we've covered it, there's been 3 more that have been shot down, and we have no idea what they were. Some have
Will Smith going to
speculated
get
that
one of
it
them
was
planes
for
one
weather
day.
purposes. Not sure.
Okay.
Ian said I'm not touching it.
Not today. Chicago.
Do remember. Market Mondays World Tour.
Let me throw that up for him. Let me throw.
Do remember this, just in case you came in late.
Fade in. Look at that.
Just in case you came in late.
Talk to him.
Market Mondays World Tour.
Mm-hmm.
We will be hitting 3 continents, 5 shows.
Yes.
Starting with LA on March 11th. The LA tickets are up for sale right now. Link in the description. Link in the bio. Get your LA tickets. All the other cities' tickets will be up soon, but you can get on the waiting list. You can get on the waiting list for all of those cities right now. So when the tickets are available, you can be the first to be notified for purchase. We will be going to Los Angeles, followed by Toronto, Canada, with special guest 19 Keys on that show, followed by London, followed by Chicago, followed by Ghana.
Yes.
Oh,
Big. This is going to be presented by Ally.
Shout out to the folks at Ally.
Shout out to Ally.
Somebody just said, I need that poster. We got something special with that.
You
poster.
never know.
You never know.
Stay tuned. Stay tuned alert.
The new Death Row.
Did we get to 6,000 live so I can get some money away?
We at 6.1 right
yeah,
now.
we got over 6,000.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, shout out to the
All
good
right,
folks,
well.
man.
Pick a couple people. Let's do this. You want to pick the couple people happening. Invest Fest will be happening this year.
Yes.
Don't worry.
Oh, please.
Let's talk about Kanye before. Well, Ye.
And the company that he used to be with?
Adidas.
Yes.
This is the big one.
This is
This is the one right here.
yeah. I'm gonna add a little salt into it that people probably I might get attacked for the first time ever, but I have to say from a business side, some of the things that are happening. I'm preparing myself for it.
Nothing controversial.
You know how
Nothing
this is new.
controversial.
This will be new, but we'll see.
Our plan for everything on Ian. Ian sent these talking points over. It was his idea.
His idea. He put us up to it.
Yep.
You want? No, you start.
You say you want to talk about something.
I'm gonna after we get because we're gonna obviously the report came out that Adidas lost 1.3 billion after
expected loss of 1.3 billion
after cutting ties with
cutting ties with Ye.
Mm-hmm.
Now there have been reports that they're trying to remake some Yeezy brand to try to
not gonna work.
rework, kind of like bring a vampire from the dead back to life type vibe to help their company. Long story short, Adidas has lost $1.3 billion in revenue so far.
Right. And that's just based on an estimate.
Because of the cutting ties with Yeezy and Yeezy brand. So there's a lot to unpack here, right?
Yeah.
As you know, we talked about Ye when his net worth dropped and he lost $1 billion, but nobody ever talks about what happened to the other guy.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's like people always say, like, okay, this guy got beat up in a fight. But what happened to the other guy next week?
And the ramifications
When he
of it.
came back.
Yeah.
When he came back next week, what happened to the guy that got punched in the face? Like, yeah, he got punched in the face. He got knocked out. What happens to the guy that knocked him out?
Yeah, but even bigger, right? What? So like they cut ties with their biggest asset, right? Which was Ye. But what does that do to the trust of the other people that are on the brand, right? Do we now rock with the brand? Because if I liked Ye and I love, obviously everybody was wearing this thing. He's moving over 1 million units a year, probably more than that. Do I rock with Adidas athletes now? Do I rock with other people and entrepreneurs that are having Adidas as partnerships? It's going to affect their sales, right? So you got to look at it from not just what they did with him, but the ramifications of what it'll have on the overall business.
Yeah.
So what they try to do is like,
So what was the controversial thing that you was going to say?
so I'm gonna break down the Ye part first, right? So the first part was obviously they had the merchandising, which is key, right? They had the merchandise and it was branded with Yeezy on it, and so now you're stuck because you can't put that out, right? Or they're going to try to put it out, but people are going to realize that it's not associated with the person anymore, and so what's the chance of it selling? So rather than shipping it out, they're going to probably take a loss on that. So the ramifications of it, I was like, all right, well, let me look who else is on. Who's the next most prominent person on Adidas? Obviously, Messi is an Adidas athlete, and a lot of people, obviously, with the World Cup, but they took a loss on the overall. They sponsored the World Cup and took a loss on it. But then I started thinking, like, yo, Beyonce's on there.
Beyonce.
Check these numbers out. All right, so Beyonce has the Ivy Park brand at Adidas, and she announced that in 2018. So in 2022, Ivy Park roughly did $40 million in sales, right? In 2021, they did $93 million in sales, right? So last year, we're talking almost a 56% cut. The company, Adidas, projected that line to do $250 million in 2022. That was the projection. Based on what happened in 2021, they projected it upsale of 250. It came in at 40. In 2023, this year, Adidas projects the line to do $63 million. They originally had compared their projection to be at $335 million. They thought Ivy Park would bring that in.
Oh, wait. So is this the controversial thing?
Well, so
are you attacking the Beehive?
I'm not attacking the Beehive.
Are you saying Beyonce's underperforming?
I'm saying
You got to be extremely. Let's be.
I said let me just.
Whoa.
we got to talk about the numbers.
Cut the mics off.
Just the numbers.
Cut the lights out.
Now here's the difference though. Here's the difference now, right? So is the line underperforming based on their projections? Yes. Here's what can happen in 2023, and I'm sure like your sister is aware, and my wife is aware, and I'm aware. Beyonce is going on tour.
Absolutely, world tour.
The world tour. It has over 50 dates. I'm sure there's going to be a marketing campaign around it. I'm sure Ivy Park would be at the forefront of a lot of the campaign. Will it help the sales of the brand? Please, for my sake, yes.
Yo.
For my sake, yes.
Shout out to
Yes.
Beyonce,
But
man.
based on how it was projected, they're at a point now in 2023, whether they're going to see this thing out or they're going to say, you know what? We can't bring her back.
What? Can't bring Beyonce back? What? Oh.
I don't know if I'll go on record. If Adidas don't know about that Beehive, you think the Kanye debacle was crazy?
Can you? I mean, is it a smart business decision to bring it back?
Well, do you know how much they spent? Well, we would have to know how much they spent on it to see. Even though the projections are lower than what they thought,
Far lower.
It could still be profitable. We have to see how much they spent on marketing, how much they spent on manufacturing to see because if you're making money with Beyonce, no brainer. Even if you're losing money with Beyonce, it's still a
Could be a
no-brainer
no-brainer.
because it's still
I was
good for the
Beyonce,
brand.
I'd
So
go
you got to be
negotiate
losing a
since
lot
it's
of money.
So one of the issues is that they say that, yes, she will do the campaigns and there's commercials for it. But when you see her out in public, when you do see her out in public, is she wearing it?
I don't know.
That's a different fee. The mistake that they made was having that poison pill. So they have to pick whether they're going to pay him a royalty or keep it on the shelf. That was a smart move on Kanye's team to have that in. So it's like it's mutual self destruction if the partnership does not go well. Um, Adidas, once again, that profit margin is not that great. So I put it in Telegram for Stock Club, but you guys should go look with it what the operating margins are for Adidas anyway. If I was Beyonce, I would make a concerted effort to renegotiate my contract. Um,
This is nothing against Beyonce. This is
it's
all
tough.
business. Listen. Before I start getting these bees in my chat. Look, I've been to 15 Beyonce shows. I am a
Gotcha.
supporter of Beyonce and all things of the Knowles family. We went to her mom's gala. I will be at the Renaissance tour. This is a fact. I will be front and center. In fact, when you see the video, you understand how much of a supporter I am. I just want to make sure that the business is right, and I'm sure she will too.
Adidas has some big shoes to fill, no pun intended, with that fiasco. And I don't know if they'll be able to, like, what ambassador could they get?
Yeah, who's the next person?
They're going to have to pay Luca probably $500
Luca is not leaving brand. He's not leaving Nike. That's out the
They
question.
sent it in the group chat. We got 800 new people that's watching it now since you said that. No, I'm dead serious. It went from 6,000 to 6,800 people.
The bees are here.
No, they sent it in the group chat.
Yeah, we praying for everything Beyonce. We love everything.
Listen, guys.
Matter of
Listen,
fact,
guys.
Zoom in on Shadi. I'm about to put
listen,
lemonade up here.
Listen, guys. Listen.
No
Beyonce
drama
is
with
the
that.
greatest
We
of
got
all.
7.5, Shadi. The greatest. Not yo. I'm saying the greatest. Well, Mike might be the greatest, but Beyonce is right there. Billie Jean in his prime.
Why we got 7.5 thousand people in here? Market Mondays World Tour. Toronto, Canada. London.
Somebody put the flyer up.
Let's go.
Save me.
Get your tickets now.
Keep the flyer up for like
Yes,
30
please.
seconds. I'm changing my albums
Yeah,
as we
put
speak.
the
Hold
flyer
on.
up. Let's go.
Keep the flyer up. Shadi, keep talking.
They put it in the group chat. That's crazy. Yo.
Kudos to Red Jewel 2609, first winner tonight of the Cash App giveaway for $500. I appreciate you. Axel God, winner number 2. VTA alumna, you are number 3 for tonight. Please come to the live show on the tour. I will be giving out a bag as I do at every show for Market Mondays Live. Love you guys.
Yes. And LA, we got some dope surprises for LA, man. I'm really looking forward to that. So LA, don't play around, LA. We will see you in a couple weeks, 3 weeks. It's going to be here before you know it, March 11th, man. One of them ones.
That's around the corner.
One of them
Damn.
ones. The Market Mondays World Tour. A lot of people are excited about Toronto, Canada. I'm being honest with you.
Toronto gonna be a
A
vibe.
lot of people. It's a heavy excitement for Toronto. And I have to say that all the cities aren't exciting, but Toronto,
Toronto, I'm excited.
19
I'm gonna be
keys.
there a week.
Toronto, Canada, Market Mondays, high level conversation mashup.
It's gonna be big.
We might need to do 2 nights. We'll see how it goes
Back to back.
when we release tickets, but we might need to do back to back nights on this one.
Yeah.
The demand might be overwhelming.
Yeah.
It might be
Gonna
overwhelming.
be big.
New presentation every city. Let's get to it.
But before we leave this Kanye West situation, just like going back to Ye,
Yeah.
because we talked about Adidas, we talked about Beyonce, but we didn't talk about Kanye. We didn't talk about Ye, and obviously Ye, you know, he's had his troubles. He's been out of the limelight for a couple of weeks now. But what does this say about the value that Ye brings to a company? What does this say about the future for Ye in fashion? Obviously assuming that, everything is, he can get back on track with everything. But because that part of it is Adidas lost $1.3 billion, but the other part of it is that Kanye added $1.3 billion in value or more.
Minimum.
Because that's just
way
they
more.
could this is a projection that they released, so
Yeah.
they could have actually lost $3 billion. Who knows? So
And that's
what-
just this year.
is he the most valuable man in fashion?
When did Kanye join forces in partnership with Adidas?
2012?
Damn. The stock was at that time was at $33, and it went to $199.44 at the end of 2022. I mean, he's a multiplier, but it goes back to that point of demonization. Um, Probably Kanye's an instant bucket, brand wise. Like, there's no question. I don't know what is next for the good brother. Kudos to him and the family, and saying I appreciate you. I don't know what is next for him, but if he can get back on track and get the people behind him, the truth is though, he lost us. He lost us. That's tough. Like, I thought he would have been done after the slavery is a choice thing, and we forgave him. This time he went too far.
When you say he lost us, what do you mean?
Black people.
You think he lost black people? You think he currently lost black people?
Everybody in chat, y'all rocking with Kanye? No.
Let's see.
Let's poll the people, because when I've said it, everybody's like, "Yo, you crazy."
Let's see. Let's see.
So I don't know.
We'll see what he's.
Well,
we'll see what the chat says. But shout out to Humble. He said something that was very insightful.
I spoke about this today.
He said something that was very insightful. We was talking about Ye. We was with Calais Campbell.
Yep.
It was us, Calais Campbell, NFL legend, and Humble. Humble is he's Alonzo Ball's financial advisor, Charlemagne's financial advisor, Issa Rae, a bunch of people. He's been on EYL. And we were in the car going to the Super Bowl, and we was talking about it, and he said something that was extremely insightful. Because, we were talking about Ye, and obviously, I think he has mental health issues. That's a different conversation. But he was saying that he said, I can never throw Ye away because he's given me more than I've given him.
I could ever give him.
And me like that. If you really think, if you think about it from that perspective, just think about that. Like, like Kanye has given me personally. I don't know what we gave him because I don't know. He might have watched Earn Your Legion and actually got some value from it. Who knows? But just say for most people, right? He's giving you more than you've given him.
Yeah.
Have some grace. Just like us. We've given you more than you've given us. Have some grace.
It was one of those moments. It was like, yo, that perspective, I didn't think about it. But yeah.
Have some grace.
Yeah.
Like that was probably the realest thing I ever heard in my life. He's given me more than I've given him.
Yeah.
Most people don't look at scenarios like that though, at scale, especially like when the narrative is told through the media, and then we have to go back to the conversation of powers that be. If they turn the switch and demonize them to devalue the brand, we'll have grace when we're trying to look at media for our opinion. It's tough. Also, good lesson too, you have to know who you can go to war with and who you can't. Kris Jenner is not a person I want to go to war with.
Kris Jenner.
He lost this one.
Next topic. On that note,
we won't get into that.
On that note, let's talk about.
Call 19 Keys real quick.
Let's talk about Meta.
We gonna have some talking to all this humble little ish y'all got me doing. We're doing Toronto. I'm learning.
Let's talk about Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg tells managers to get back to making things or leave.
And another thing about Ye.
Talk about innovation.
Mark Zuckerberg, he's had enough. He's had enough.
Yes.
He's had enough. He's drawing a line in the sand. He said either make Facebook great again or leave.
Or get out.
How do we feel about this?
Make Facebook great again?
Make Facebook great again.
Honestly, I love it. It's too much bloat at Meta. I hate the people that have been affected by the layoffs. I think they're, using an axe instead of a scalpel to be precise on who should be let go. But we need a lot more innovation and we need a lot more speed there. It's one of the first leadership moves in a long time that I've liked from Zuckerberg. 181.79 is a key line. It's the 50% retracement of the all-time high of the stock. So if it's above 181.79, it's making forward progress. If it's not, it's currently under. It's at 179.48. But this is a good move for sure. One thing that people have to remember, brand-wise, no matter how big a company is, you need everyone being productive. And the productivity score for every employee is key. This is why I'm like big on not having meetings. I know people hate the theory. But you see in the times of recession or depression that you need people actually working on the business. Please write this down instead of in the business. Meetings, email, the politics that comes with corporate is in the business. On the business is making Instagram better, making sure that there's not room for TikTok to grow, cultivating an environment for the metaverse to actually be successful and not the crap that they put out software-wise. The next Meta Quest is pretty good in comparison to the old version. You need more people, or you need all hands on deck to make the brand and company better, because we've fallen out of love with Facebook. If it wasn't for Instagram, it would be over. I wish you would have made this move 3 or 4 years ago after the Cambridge Analytica scandal, but better late than never. But I love this move on his end.
Somebody got to be innovating over there. Yep. Right? If he's
or you got to find some more ideas to steal, since that was the iteration of the company.
Yeah, sometimes you get the ideas from the people that are part of the workforce, right? They may have an idea that can spark to innovation. So if nobody's there innovating, then it's tough, right? It's tough sometimes to come up with all the ideas. Like if me, Shadi, had to come up with all the ideas, it'd be tough, right? Sometimes it's like creativity takes time, right? So like you got to get inspiration from other people, and especially if you are paying people to be around you with that exact task.
Yep,
they need to be there.
Yep. But I will say kudos to those that are doing a great job over at Meta. Got to shout out Alvin, got to shout out Frederick, John Senior and Junior. We have some people, at Meta that are doing a great job, but we need a lot more efficiency over there. And low key, I called the slow demise, and the changes that I said need to be made have been put in place. So I will be back at Meta end of this month. Meta, can I live stream and do the show from there?
A lot of business there, man.
It don't have to be HQ. It can be Hudson. It don't matter. It's up to y'all. We'll see. They have a long way to go, though. And they need to give up on just spending on Metaverse.
Joe Button with overalls is crazy.
Shout out to Joe Button.
With no shirt on.
Wow. And Queens. And shout out to Melissa. Proud of you. Ish.
Shout out to the whole team over there. Yeah. The overall picture that is going viral online, right? Did you see it, Ian?
Yeah. That was part of the campaign for the new show.
The overall pic?
Yeah, it was like a spoof.
It worked.
Yeah, but I think right now everybody's talking about him saying like the people are failing, and he's happy that they're failing.
Let's talk about this.
I mean, he spoke to us about that, right?
Joe, I'm with you now.
Shout out to Loon. Did you see what Loon posted?
That's my dog.
I did see that.
Shout out to Loon.
I did see that.
So I saw that on the wake up at 4:00 in the morning. That was the first thing. I scrolled out of bed.
I gotta have Loon and Joe sit down.
Said, "Thank you, God." Go on Instagram, and I see Loon.
Thank you. In that order?
In that order.
God, back to Instagram.
I look at the ceiling. I'm still alive.
Thank you, God.
So Joe Button, shout out to Noriega, our friend, great guy. And shout out to Joe, our friend, great guy. Yes, we're friends with everybody in the space. My thing is I just want everybody to get along.
It's impossible though.
You could always try.
Yeah.
So they had a podcast where Nori went on Joe Button's podcast, and Nori, paraphrasing, said that he's happy that a lot of these entertainers that are turning to podcasting are failing. Mm-hmm. They both kind of championed that sentiment. And then they said they trying sports shows, they trying comedy shows, they tried everything, variety shows. It's not working. Da, 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 da. And a lot of people took offense to that because they're like, well, why would you be celebrating or why would you be happy as somebody's failure or perceived failure? Mm. We are in the space. We're in the media space. We have been successful, fortunately. We're one of the few people that have been successful in this space. So we have a voice in this. We have a voice. We're an authority. What are you guys'? I'll say my 2 cents on it. But
I want to go last.
What are you?
Because I'm gonna go.
You said you want to go last. What's your thoughts on it?
Yeah, because I'm gonna go crazy.
Let me check the chat, see if there's any highs in it. I think it was harsh what he was saying, but I understood what he was saying. Right? I think the context was people are getting into this space thinking like, yo, this is easy. This is easy. I can make money. I can have a place to say whatever I want and do whatever I want from a media standpoint. Mm-hmm. His standpoint is like, no, I've dedicated my life to this. There's a big difference from you just thinking that this is something that you're going to do on a fly by night and be successful. And that's what I'm taking it as. Because even when we spoke to him, it was like, yo, you guys figured it out. There was something in you that you said, whatever value add, it's going to be different and it's going to work and we're going to be dedicated to it. I think what he's seeing is a lot of people, and I think he gave a statistic from 2018 that, let's say there was 2 million new podcasts. Only 1 million exist now because they didn't have the dedication, they didn't understand the value, and they thought that they can make money. Once they realized that they couldn't make money and they really didn't have any value, they stopped. And so if you're looking at people as another way, as another source of revenue, this ain't it. This is for people who really want to do this, who really feel like they can make an impact, who really going to dedicate themselves to it. We see it all the time. People always ask us like, yo, how do y'all do this? I don't know how y'all do it. Ian, you say that to me every time I speak to you. Yo, I don't know how y'all do it. Yeah. We hung out with Neo and Marcus last night. Same thing. Yo, I don't know how y'all do this. It's because we dedicated to it, man. We understand the importance to it. We know what we mean to this space. We know what we mean to our community, and we take it very serious. If you're not going to do that, then what Joe said is going to sound harsh. But I understood it.
Shadi, your thoughts?
Okay, that was a good way to put it. And when you put it like that, I think that makes sense. That makes sense from looking at it from that perspective, as far as to say this is a fraternity that, you know, we have helped build, and it comes with blood, sweat, tears. You lose relationships off of it. You're not sleeping properly. You're not spending time with your children. Like, you know, it's really passion that you put behind this. And then somebody comes into space and they just doing it for a quick buck, or they think that it's easy to be successful. They shouldn't be successful in it, right? It's like the rap thing. But then you can't knock the hustle. That's rule number one. Can't knock the hustle. So how I look at it is that, you know, there's opportunities for people to provide for themselves and their families by speaking and spreading their voice. Now, I will say this, 95 to 98% of what's being said is not important. Now, that's important, because what you're talking about is not important, and you're highlighting stories that's not important, and you're reinforcing stereotypes. So you're actually in opposition of progress. You're an op. You're really an op. You're technically an op. You're in opposition of...
By definition.
By definition, you are an op. You're in opposition of progress. Yeah. So to me, that's more concerning than people coming in and failing and all. Like, what are you talking about? I'm all for anybody giving it a try. Give it a try. If it works out, God bless. If it doesn't work out, God bless. You know, for me, for us, we always going to give the information because that's the kind of platform that we have. And it's like we never, you know, we don't keep secrets. We give you the information here. It's like 50 Cent said, I got to run the lick first. But hey, after I run it, if you could keep your head together and you could, you know, stay focused enough, I'm going to give you the information. You can do what you want with it. Mm-hmm. If you can catch a lick off of it, all you got to do is just say thank you and maybe reference us as the people that helped you out. That didn't happen a variety of times, but that's a different story. But for me, it's not so much of the people that's failing. It's if you're going to have a show, I hate the word podcast. If you're going to have a show, think about what you're saying and how what you're doing is going to be beneficial. And it doesn't have to be serious. It doesn't have to be about financial literacy. I listen to a lot of different shows. I love Math Hoffa's show. I love Drink Champs. I love I Am Athlete. But it's like they're taking time in between to put 19 Keys on, to put us on. 85 South Show, put Ian on, put MG Lamore. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, just have some variety. It doesn't have to be every single week, but have some variety and think about how you can actually push the culture forward with your platform. If you're not pushing the culture forward, you're pushing it backwards. And some of these shows have huge platforms and they've never done anything productive. They've never highlighted anybody that has been progressive. So that to me is a little bit more concerning. That's where I would like to focus my energy. What's your thoughts on this, Ian?
This is more music industry label politic BS at its finest, because they have pushed. Like, I find it interesting that at scale, the music industry trained us to want to be artists, and then when they have a groundswell of artists, where there's more artists than fans, they push everyone to podcasting and find a way to monetize podcasting without paying us. One of my favorite quotes from Dick Gregory is, "It's not the crabs in a barrel that causes them to attack each other. It is the boiling water pouring on top of them that makes them do so." That's the music industry. The thing that I didn't like in that conversation was the disrespect towards Combat Jack. Now, Joe said if he would have caught it, he would have checked Nori on it. But without Combat Jack, there would be no ground infrastructure for a lot of black creatives to be in podcasting. So that part I didn't like. As far as like differentiation, the thing that I want to keep stressing tonight is the law of differentiation when creating anything. So before this show, I didn't see anybody black being comfortable being black talking about investing. Not one. Then there's a bunch after. Kudos to everybody there. You have to find a way to be different in the space. But outside of being different, business model means more than anything in any space. So the reason why a lot of people are not able to have success in podcasting or in music is because that is designed that way. It's not because people didn't put in enough time or enough effort, or they're wasting their energy on it. The business model has to be designed from the very beginning to be profitable. And these topics, such as who's hot, who's not, who's the top 50, top 100 rappers, whose show is better, that's all music label bullshit to get us to fight, to not focus on the real answers. I've had this talk many times with Corey, Joe, Ish, Ice. Shout to you, shout to Parks. I wish I could have seen you at the Grammys. We got to focus on what matters. And once again, Daniel got $2 billion at Spotify and ran Spotify into the ground and hasn't put out 5 hit shows. But if we would have ran $1.5 billion into the ground, we would be in jail. We have to focus on what matters. Now, I wish I can get Loon and Joe to sit down. Both of my guys. Loon, my dog. You're going to see a Red Panda collaboration coming soon. Joe is my guy. I want us to stop fighting. Because at the end of the day, Spotify, Apple Music, and a couple other players are going to do incredibly well off of us beefing.
There you have it. There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Can't we all just get along?
Beware of the ops and let's get along.
Can we all?
What ops are there?
I just told you. The ops. Those are the ops. Those are the people that's not moving. The people that's not moving the situation forward are opposition to progress. Those are the ops. Those ops could be black people. They could be white people. They could be Asian people. Whoever is not.
We have more black ops than anything, if we're gonna be honest.
I don't know who we got, but I'm just saying. It just is what it is. It's like if you're in opposition, you're an op. That's it. That's the op. That's the real op. That's it. You just gotta call it out how you see it.
Is the real op everybody not working together?
Is that an op?
That's in opposition as well, because it's like the only way to really move this boat forward is
anybody on that
unity.
On that wavelength.
Yeah.
If I'm Vince McMahon and I get Joe and Loon to fight, and we got to give tax credit.
I was just going to say that, Ian,
but
before we go any further, when we talk about the podcast space, yes, rest in peace to Combat Jack, but absolutely, Tax Stone is
Tax
important to the space.
Lit,
I mean,
boy.
like, maybe him and Joe were the first people I ever even listened to on a podcast.
Noriega.
No, I'm saying original.
No. We can't. Nori was early.
No,
Drink Champs was early.
Not before Tax Stone.
Not before
Nori created a
gonna do
buzz that was big.
He's important too.
Very big.
But those guys get credit.
Now look,
Those guys get credit. A lot of people leave out Combat Jack, and a lot of people leave out Tax Stone,
about tax.
and they shouldn't.
And goes back. Okay, and who is signing all these artists or podcasters? That's why I won't label nobody. You can't label me as a podcaster. I'm sorry. Shout out to my CA family. Won't let you do it. Won't let you do it. But everyone is signing to mostly non-black entities. It's the same music label shit that we saw in the 80s and 90s. No, we're not gonna have this wave happen again.
Nope.
When we end up, because eventually there's going to be a podcast war and somebody's going to get killed over talking, over some shit y'all don't own. No,
Can't happen.
no.
We can't. No, we
Cannot
can't have that happen. We cannot.
But if you're in LA and want to record, you more than welcome to come to WTF Studios in West Hollywood, which I co-own. That shit look good in there, don't
It
it?
did.
Anything we get demonetized from me cursing, I'll pay for it.
It looked good.
We want to talk podcasting. Well, let's talk about everybody who copied.
That
It's good. There's a couple of networks I need to call out, but I'm gonna be humble.
Define
How you say humble in
network.
Spanish? Please put it in chat.
Define network. So I seen networks, but like,
Now we want to get to talking. That's a lot of y'all who copied me. Boy, I had some private talks behind the scene and gave some ideas, and then it popped out. Where my money at?
well, shout out to EYL Network.
¿Qué quieres?
Hold on, shout out to EYL Network. Shout out to Market Monday. Shout out to Ronnie Brown.
Ronnie Brown show
Girl
came out
CEO.
today. Girl CEO,
New episodes dropped.
19 keys, one of the ones.
Yes. MG the
Ash
Mortgage
Cash,
Guy,
MG the Mortgage
Deanna
Guy.
Watson. Dave McCullough's back from a nice break with some great content. So shout out to EYL Network.
But then also I want to say something too, because a lot of people, somebody even text me and they're like, "Yo, call them out. Like, don't be afraid to call somebody's name out."
I'm gonna call him out in LA.
No. But let me just finish this point because it's important. You don't got to call people out all the time, because it's like this. Because when these will be the same people that'll be like, rest in peace when somebody gets killed.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of times it's not necessary to say somebody's names. Be careful. You gotta be careful with saying people's names, because you causing an energy. We've seen this happen with Tupac. We've seen this happen with Big. We've seen this happen with a variety of different people, right? Where you might be causing an energy that you yourself might not even be affected by, but it has ripple effects. Yeah. So just be careful, because it's like, I know it's entertaining and people like that, but at some point in time, the entertainment turns to a tragedy.
Spills over.
So just be careful with saying people's names. It's not necessarily a direct shot at any one person. It's bigger than one person. The message is for everybody, right? The message is literally for every single person, and you can take it if it applies to you. And if it doesn't apply to you, you can keep it close to you, because at some point it may apply to you, including myself. Like, what I'm saying at some point might apply to me. And I might need to be checked on and like, yo, bro, like, remember you said this about this person? Like, you doing the same thing. Like, you said that these people was doing. Oh, you're right. My bad. Let me correct my behavior. Let's try to correct people's behavior instead of putting them in situations where their back is against the wall and they got to react. Because if you say somebody's name, now it becomes a situation where it has to escalate at that point in time.
It's about
and this is why even when people say our names, it's like, diss me and you'll never get a response for it. Because you're not big enough to get a response. But B, it's like, if you wrestle with a pig, you're pork. If you wrestle with a pig, you're pork.
But that's
like, you know what I'm saying?
That's gross.
So it's like, I'm not in the swine. Yeah. So I'm not gonna wrestle with a pig.
Yeah. But I'm saying, but that's growth and that's maturity too. Like, you asked that maybe 2 years ago, and there's been times we had to have a conversation like, yo, bro,
2 weeks ago,
it doesn't make sense for us to even say anything, right? Like you said, you diss us, you're never gonna hear a reply. But you got to be at a certain level of maturity to even have that stance, and you have to have some experience in situations like that to really get to that conclusion. But we saying it so that people can learn from us, right? If you learn from us in any other way, obviously from business, and learn from these life lessons too, man. They just as valuable and can save not only you but the people around you. Because a lot of times it won't even be you. It'll be the people around you who are harmed by it, and you won't. You know what I'm saying? Just because, and we don't need that. We don't need to put anybody's life in danger. We don't put anybody's family's lives in danger, man. That's not what we're here for. We're here to spread knowledge, spread education, and help the fucking communities.
I'll be transparent. Somebody said something to me that I didn't like before, like a minute before the show started.
Today?
3 weeks ago, yeah. And all I said was thank you for giving me the chance to grow and be better. 2 weeks ago.
It's growth.
Poncho, go over there.
We all evolving. We all evolving, man. Well, we
It's
all
not
evolving.
worth it.
While we talking about evolution,
Great business tip. Real quick.
Go ahead.
My favorite document in my Google Documents is every piece of criticism that I've ever gotten that's always led to me turning that into a product or a feature of something that I release. You don't have to push back on a criticism. At Market Mondays Live, I will be walking you through, guys, a couple of things, but I'll wait the next week to, tell you some of the things I'm going to cover on stage. But it's not worth it, and I don't want us dying over words and over ego for what? I'm just here to help people make more money and help y'all elevate. So, that's growth in 2023.
That's evolution.
Shout out to my
Before you
CA
said
family.
evolution, I was talking about evolution. I was talking about one of the best albums of all time. When we talk about evolution, zoom in on me. I got me. Can I talk about this? Can we talk about this, LP? When we talk about evolution of an artist and just a sound, we got to talk about Lemonade. I mean, one of the best LPs by one of the best artists of all time. I mean, is it even an argument? Shout out to her and shout out to Renaissance, the Renaissance tour. You might catch EYL there. Who knows?
You never know.
You never know.
We're past the 2 hour mark.
Yes.
I want to say Utah, Salt Lake City. We will be in Utah.
Yes.
We're back on road this week.
Yes.
If there's anything to do in Salt Lake City on Thursday, let us know.
Not a damn.
You need a barber out there?
No, I'm joking.
I don't think I need a barber in Salt Lake City, but let us know what there's to do because we got a whole day with nothing to do. So we'll be out there on Thursday, and we don't have anything planned. Of course, we will be at the NBA All-Star festivity. Shout out to the NBA Players Association for having us out there. We're actually doing an event with Chase, and we're going to be interviewing Baron Davis, a few other of NBA players. It's a free event. If you're in Salt Lake City and you're interested in attending, it's on Friday. I put the link in the description of this video. All you got to do is RSVP. It's a free event, All-Star Weekend. Shout out to Chase and shout out to the NBA PA. Shout out to Baron Davis. Shout out to the all of the NBA players. Those guys are amazing. And a little disappointed that I wasn't selected for the NBA
We're working on it.
All-Star Celebrity Game.
Yes.
I'm not sure why I wasn't
I
selected.
saw the list, and I'm not gonna. We won't say anybody's name, but I think you definitely could have been on there.
It goes back. Value the entrepreneur. It goes back to that. It goes
Listen,
back
they
to
don't
that
have to
comment.
value it as long as we get the valuations right.
That's true.
Well,
We can either partner or we can buy everything out.
Well,
Cool. I've learned.
But before we go on a more humbling note and a somber note, yesterday we lost Trugoy, Plug 2, as I knew him growing up, from De La Soul, and it's crazy because we were at the Grammys 2 weekends ago, and we ran into Pasta News Plug 1, and I told him how much they meant to me as a kid. 3 Feet High and Rising, De La Soul is dead, and then later on, like 96, Stakes is High. And I told him the story of how, like, when I was a kid, anytime there was a 3-person group, I had 2 brothers, so we became the 3-person group. And so Run DMC, like, my brother was DMC because he had glasses, and my other brother Greg, Howie was DMC because he had glasses. Greg was Run, and I became Jam Master Jay because I was younger. But when it came to De La Soul, again, Pasta News Plug 1 had glasses, so that was Howie, and then I was Trugoy because my name started with T. And I told him that story, he was just like, "Wow, that's incredible, man! Like, I know who y'all are. This is incredible that we impacted y'all." So to hear his passing a week later, man, it's tough. So condolences to him, condolences to the whole De La family. I know that they were just about, and we had covered them earlier in Earn Your Leisure on one of our early episodes about their fight for the owning of their music. March 3rd, my birthday this year, they were actually going to have their first time being streamed on music platforms with their ownership.
Crazy.
And so he didn't even get a chance to see that. So rest in peace to him, and condolences to him, his family, and again, shout out to all the De La family and fans out there.
Rest in peace.
Yes.
Legendary. De La Soul, legendary.
Real quick, I want to congratulate my guy Terrell Revis, for making it to the Hall of Fame. And I got a book recommendation for you guys. The Model, 37 Years Investing in Asian Equities by Richard H. Lawrence Jr., which would be the book of the month for Market Mondays. But shout out to Revis for making it to the Hall of Fame. First ballot.
Shout out to Darrell. We actually ran into him and got a chance to congratulate him in person. Shout out to Darrell Revis. And shout out to everybody that was inducted into the NFL Hall of Fame. Yes. And the guy that somebody had put, there's a Jordan event on Thursday. Please hit ASO, hit Abdullah, hit our COO.
Yes.
In the link in our Instagram. Don't blow his page up with a bunch of stuff. This is just that Jordan event sounds interesting though. So I'm interested in that. So
I got I'll be prepared.
Send him the information, and yes, that is something that I'm interested in attending.
We gotta be there.
Yes.
And absolutely. Happy Love Day to everyone tomorrow. Yes. I think that is the official. Is it the official end of cuffing season?
The end or the beginning?
No, because beginning starts on the
15th. You don't say. You don't say.
You didn't Happy Love Day. You know what I'm saying?
To my wife, baby. My daughter. I got some surprises for y'all tomorrow. Danielle, I love you. Jordan, you know Daddy love you.
I got some surprises too tomorrow. Oh my God.
Got me feeling like Jim Jones.
Yo, if you get no response tomorrow.
Got me feeling like Jim Jones. Ballin'. Fade away.
Yo, man, love is love.
Congratulations to LeBron James.
Oh, yeah. Oh.
Congratulations to LeBron James.
You see what's up there. I got the sneakers up there.
The great one. The best to ever do it. All-time NBA scorer. This guy's amazing. 20 years in the league, has outlived expectations, which is almost impossible. To be on the cover of ESPN, to be on the cover of Sports Illustrated at 16, to be called the chosen one at 16 years old. Yeah. So much pressure put on him, and he outlived that. That's almost impossible to do. A class act.
Never been done.
His team is immaculate. He's empowered black men, from Rich Paul to Maverick Carter to the whole team. A family man, his wife Savannah, his children. This guy has just done it. He's done it the right way for such a long period of time. A great player, but more importantly, a great person, a great role model for young people to emulate, for grown people to emulate. Opened up a school. We can go on and on. No scandals. Yeah. We can go on and on about LeBron, man. But sometimes, we don't give people their flowers until they pass away, unfortunately. So it's important to give people their flowers while they can still smell them, while they're still in their prime. And LeBron, like I said, everybody know how I feel about LeBron. He's my favorite of all time. I think he's the best basketball player ever. But I guess that's debatable. But what's not debatable?
The debate is closing, though. I'm not going to lie.
It's becoming tougher.
That window's closing.
I'll be honest, and I'm a Jordan guy. It's becoming tough to argue. But
me too, yeah.
LeBron, off the court, I think is probably more impressive than on the court. I'm be honest with you. From what he's done, from the family side to the business side to empowering black entrepreneurs, right? Like we talked about Rich, right? But we were at the Clutch event. So friend of the show, shout out to Nicole Lynn, the first female black agent to have representation in this, a quarterback representing in the Super Bowl. It's the first time it's ever happened. So shout out to her for having Jalen Hurts as a client. Like this is incredible. And she's the head of Clutch football. And that doesn't happen without putting people in power. So that goes down on LeBron's lineage of just impact, man. He's a incredible man. I feel no way about saying that. Incredible man.
Great guy, man. Yeah. Thank you to LeBron for the inspiration, motivation.
Yeah.
Once again, we will be in Salt Lake City, Utah. Yes. Holla at us. Market Mondays World Tour.
Yes.
Get your tickets now. Link in the description, link in the bio, link everywhere. LA, first stop. We on our way. LA, Los Angeles. If you're in Southern California, if you're in San Diego, if you're in the IE, if you're in Los Angeles, if you're in Compton, if you're in Long Beach.
If you're in New York, you need to come to the LA show.
If you're in Arizona, anywhere in that West Coast region, everybody has been asking for a long time. Why y'all never do nothing in LA? Why you don't show love to the West Coast? We coming. Novo Theater, March 11th. Shout out to Cali. We on our way. Get your tickets.
Gonna be crazy, yo.
It's an experience. Exclusive merch drop.
Yes.
It's an experience like no other. Legendary situation, and let's have some fun.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
have some
man.
fun.
Shout out to the folks at Ally. The tour is gonna be presented to you by Ally, our good folks over there, our good friends. We got some dope stuff that we're gonna be doing with them. Obviously, y'all know we've had a nice partnership with them, and we're gonna make more history with them. So, shout out to the good folks over there. Love is love, y'all. Be mindful. Reach out to each other. Tap in with each other. Make sure that everybody's doing good, man. We love y'all for the support, and peace. See y'all next week.
Ladies, make them spend time starting at 8 a.m. We ain't playing no games.
Yo.
Fellas.
At least.
Listen, can me and Shotty get 3 minutes? I'm going to put up 38 tomorrow.
38,000 points.
MVP. Boy.
Yeah, be mindful when those text messages come in.
Be mindful.
And to my stalker, don't stalk me on this trip now.
No, that's a real thing. That's another topic. That's a real thing, though. That's a real thing. Yo, we out, man. Peace.
Peace.
Adios.
Love is love.